Good morning, everybody. Don't know if there's anybody necessarily in here yet. I actually set this up last night, but for some reason when I went to go press the live button this morning, the video didn't show up on my page. And so good morning, everybody. So I went, I don't know what happened, so I had to just make a new live. So if you got 2 notifications, I don't know. I'm not sure what's going on here, but anyway, as you guys know, I don't know if anybody's in here yet, but I'll wait a couple of minutes. This morning, today. Hey guys, hey Capone, hey Melanie. So today's November 20th, and it's 10:15 a.m. right now. And about 4 years ago today, you guys know my mom passed away. Right around, I believe it was around 9 o'clock in the morning, or just after 8. I don't know why, I can't remember the exact time. But I know whatever time it is now is, I was probably still sitting up at the hospital. And it's just kind of crazy to think to yourself, good morning, everybody. Good morning, Newsbusters. Snoop, stop it. Come on, stop. It's just crazy to think, this morning around 8 something, I was driving my son to school, and I was like, wow, 4 years ago exactly today, I woke up and I was at the hospital, my mom sleeping in this like lazy boy chair, and I look over, and as soon as I woke up, I look over and the nurse is sitting there, and there's all these machines, and they're, they tell me, well, that's it. She's gone. Like as soon as I woke up, literally. I remember I looked up at the clock. I believe it was like, I don't know why. I want to say it was like 8:05 or 9:05. I don't know why. I can't remember which one. But I was like, okay. I looked up, and within minutes, she was gone. And my whole life changed after that. So I just can't believe it's been 4 years already. It's like time goes so goddamn fast. So much could happen in so little time. My life has changed so much in the last 4 years. So I figured I would do today. Good morning, everybody. Who has put thumbs down? Melanie, assholes. I think I would do today something a little different, just because of what today is. But so yeah, that's what today is. Just leave and wake them up. It's all right. It's all good. It's all good, Melanie. Anybody that's going to sit around and fuck with me today, they're just going to show their true colors and who they are. So it doesn't matter. Yeah. Snoop is tap dancing. He's always tap dancing. So yeah. So, I mean, I wanted to finish my series. I just got off the phone with my cousin, and we were talking about that. And she's like, you have to finish it. And I'm like, I know, I really do. And her and she went through this whole thing with me, this whole entire thing. Like she went through every step of the way. And I was like telling her this morning, she's like, you probably don't want to go back there and relive it. And I'm like, no, I definitely don't. I really feel like this is the first year of my life, since my mom passed away. Like when your life becomes consumed by other things, and this kind of goes along with what Laura was saying yesterday, like because Laura was saying that people are becoming consumed on here. Like when your life becomes consumed by something that's not healthy, that's toxic, it could really fuck you. It fucks everything up. It fucks your head up. It can mess with your body, your mind, everything. And I was so consumed with everything that like was going on, with my mom and my family and my brother and his wife, and it consumed my life. Like these people consumed my fucking life. And when I mean consumed, I mean that, they were the first thing that I thought of in the morning when I woke up, and they were on my mind all day, all the time, and the last thing on my mind before I closed my eyes at night. And that is a really shitty feeling when your life is consumed by something other than what you want it to be consumed by, where, it takes over all your thoughts. It's it controls you, basically. It's a horrible, horrible feeling. And I lived like that for quite a long time. And, this is probably like last year and this year, probably the first 2 years in a long time that I haven't felt that way. And it's a really good feeling once you're like out of that thinking and, all that, the whole thing, the feelings, the thinking about it constantly, the anger, the stress, the anxiety. You finally realize that you could start living your life again. And that's how I've been feeling the last 2 years. I feel a lot better. I feel like I'm starting to get back to like me doing things that I enjoy doing, being a mom again. Not that I wasn't a mom 2 years ago or 3 years ago, but, I was kind of just going through the motions of life. Now I feel like I'm back into being a mom again, a normal person, and living life just like I should have always been. None of this shit should have went this way. But I can't sit around and dwell on it, because it's not going to, I can't change the past. And I can't change people, unfortunately. That's a hard lesson that I had to learn in the last couple of years of my life. People are who they are, no matter what. There's nothing you could do to change that. And you have to just move on. And you have to just learn how to accept things. Acceptance is a huge part of grieving and going through something like that. You have to like learn to accept things that you don't want to accept. You kind of get forced into acceptance. So I had to go through that, and I accepted my circumstances. And even the fact that my mom's gone, I never thought I'd reach the acceptance stage, because they say that's like the last stage of grief. But to me, I feel like you're stuck forever in that phase. I mean, I still sometimes think to myself, like, God, this is just so unfair. Why did this have to happen? But I have accepted it. I have no choice. You have no choice. After a certain amount of time goes by, your head just starts to like resolve that you fucking have to accept this, because it is what it is. There's nothing you can do to change it. So I definitely think I reached that part of this, process, and it is what it is. I just have to. Love you too, girl. Sending you positive thoughts and prayers today. Thank you. So it's really crazy, because I've met so many of you guys on here in the last couple of years who've lost, their parents or somebody close to them, a child, whatever, it may be, or a grandparent. In Lish's case, Lish just lost her grandmother, and who she was very close with. And I'm watching people who are just starting out on this journey grieving, and each time you grieve is different. Each person is different. And I'm like, wow, I've come far. I've come so far, but I feel so bad. I can feel what they're feeling. I know exactly how these other people are feeling, because they're just starting out, and it's fresh. The most recent being Keith Utsi losing his mom recently. I don't know if everybody in here knows that. Keith's a subscriber, comes in here, and he lost his mom just a few days ago. So crazy, because it's the same time of year. But I wish you could tell you it gets easier. Certain days are always hard. They really are. I lost my virginity. Well, that's something to grieve over, mine. But yeah, life goes on, unfortunately. It sounds like so cold to say that. I hate saying that, but it's the truth. You have to just kind of go on. My mom's memory is always kept alive in my house. I mean, we talk about her all the time. Like, we'll be like, what would Carol do? We always say, or I'd be like, Chris, what would my mom say? To certain things. Like, we just try to talk about her a lot. I feel bad. Jesse was so young when my mom passed away. So he's always thinking, he was 3 years old. I don't know how vivid his memories are going to be, but, we make sure to like tell him about her and talk about her a lot in our house. I mean, always. We're always talking about her. And, that's one of the things I think I kind of feel bad for my brother about, because Chris really got a chance to know my mom like really well. I mean, because we were dating for I don't know, shit, almost how long? At least a good like 6-7 years before my mom passed away. So, you know, he got a really good chance to like get to know her and form a relationship with her. And you know, he has a lot of memories of her. And so we could talk about, you know, her a lot. My brother, on the other hand, his wife didn't fucking spend really time with my mom. So I don't know, you know, I don't know how it works in their house. You know, like my mom was such a big presence in our house. We talked about her all the time, every day, you know, I was always on the phone with her. She was like, when she's not here, she was like on the phone or she was on FaceTime or something like that. So she was such a part of our lives, our everyday lives, that you know, we have so much we could talk about, you know, different things that we did with her, places we went with her as a family, you know, and he don't have that. And I kind of feel bad for him because his wife really didn't get to know my mom, and that's her loss, not my mom's. That's her loss. Do you have home videos? You know, Ems, I really don't. My mom was like, it's so weird. I want to watch you, but Laura's live doing something important. What? North Star? Oh, Laura's live? I didn't know that. I have home videos. Like I have videos from when I was younger. My mom hated being on camera. She hated it. She hated pictures of herself. She hated being in videos. I mean, I have some things. Unfortunately, a lot of the things I have in her voice are things that aren't the most pleasant to listen to. But she wasn't in a lot of the videos because she was always the one taking the videos. And even like more recently, my mom just hated being on the camera. She's like, get that camera off of me. Like she just hated it. So we don't have too many videos. Lish says, I'm dreading Christmas without my grandmother for sure. You know what, Lish? That first year I had to do Christmas, it was hard. Don't get me wrong. You know, I just tried to focus on Jesse and make it about him because really that's what Christmas is about, right? It's about the kids. It's not about us. And I thought to myself, my mom wouldn't want me like sitting around. I just kept like hearing her in my head, like, you know, don't ruin Christmas for him. You know, don't over me. Like, give him a nice Christmas. So, you know, I tried to keep that in mind always as I was going along, just with anything, not even just the holidays. You know, you always have to keep that in mind. They're okay where they are. We're the ones that aren't okay. So Laura's done. She's coming over here. Oh, what was she doing? I love to be at that place to be able to reminisce. Lisa, I gotta tell you, girl. And Lisa, I know you've dealt with some serious loss too. I don't know if you guys all know, you know, Lisa lost her husband recently. And I still have trouble looking at pictures, you know? I don't know why. But I do. I still have trouble looking at pictures sometimes. I get like really sad. It makes me really, really sad. So it's okay. It's going to take time for you, Lisa. I mean, here it is 4 years later, and I still find myself having a little bit of trouble in some areas like that. Like looking at pictures, I get so sad. I get really, really, really sad. So it's just sad. I was going to talk about what happened a little bit because where I left off with my series, I told you guys the last thing I think I told you guys was that we left off that we were going to try to have my brother removed as the executor. That was like, my brother had gone against so many rules, and his misconduct basically as an executor just got way, way, way out of control at that point in time. And my attorney, because what happened was they kept changing the mail address around. So like we were having the bills sent to my attorney's office, and our attorneys had both agreed on this. They were both fine with it, that all the mail was going to go to my attorney's office. My brother's wife became utterly obsessed with the mail. You know, I don't know. My thought was that A, she just needs to control everything because she's a fucking control freak. And B, because it was what do you call it? She wanted to make sure she was getting every dime she can out of my mom, So, excuse me. So we had agreed, because they kept taking mail and not showing me things. And, they were just, it was a nightmare. So we finally had it sent to my attorney's office, and my attorney was going to be the one handling all the mail. And I ended up finding out something wasn't paid. And I ended up calling and finding out that they had, after my attorneys made the agreement, they had changed the mail back over to their house. They put it on paperless billing. And my attorney, these attorneys' egos are just fucking out of control, like out of control. The whole time I was settling my mom's estate, I was sitting there like trying to tell my attorneys, like, they're doing this, they're doing that. I can't even tell you how many times I was in their office trying to, basically tell them, like, they're not doing what they're supposed to be doing. Like, they're not. They're fucking making everything harder, 10 times more complicated. They're fighting everything. They're hiding things. They're not telling me things. Like, that's misconduct. If you look at the rules of what an executor of an estate is supposed to do, they were doing the exact opposite, pretty much. So my attorney finally got pissed off and said that he thought it was time to bring sanctions. And I said, okay, that's a good idea. Thank you. Because I was so fed up at this point in time and so stressed out. I didn't care. I really didn't care. I was willing to pay any amount of money. Like, you can't put a price on your fucking sanity. You just can't. These assholes were driving me so crazy that there was no price. Like, I couldn't take it anymore. I was at my wit's end. If you go through, like I said, like before, if you go through something where you're consumed and every day you wake up and it's like fucking Groundhog's Day, the same thing is happening every day. You're like, what am I going to find today? What's going to happen today? What fight am I going to have with these fucking two assholes today? Every day I lived like that for 2 years. So I was just done. I couldn't handle it anymore. And I was not going to give up. Like, I could have gave up. I could have just walked away and said, hey, you know what? You guys handle this shit and I'm going to fucking just walk away and, cut me my check or whatever the fuck when the time is, done. But at this point in time, we had everything was settled. We had the house. The house was pretty much sold. There was an offer in on it. There was a buyer, they had went into contract. So we were just basically waiting for the house to close. That's what we call it here, closing. So we were basically, which takes forever in New York. It takes, most states take like a month or so. Here, it could drag out for 6 months. And it's due to a lot of laziness. Lawyers, attorneys are fucking lazy. I learned that. I don't know why they make so much money, because they're so goddamn lazy, some of them, especially my attorney. So I think that's where I left off with you guys, just telling you guys, like, that's what was going on. And I did film the next video, but I just it's so hard to even want to talk about this shit again. I really I feel so good that I don't have to think about these assholes, that it's like, I don't want to go back and think about them. You know what I'm saying? They consumed so much of my fucking life. I'm done thinking about them. I'm just over it. I don't want to think about them anymore. It's horrible. But the next thing that we did was my attorneys had to write this thing up to try to get them removed from court. So I go down to his office one day and he tells me to get together all my evidence and everything like that, which I did. Hey, Neek. And 6 months. Yeah, peekaboo. It's crazy. It's fucking crazy. My house took 6 months to close. There was issues with the property, and in fact the same thing happened with my mom's house. But you think these attorneys, they do the bare minimum. It's so frustrating. I mean, I was complaining to these guys constantly. Nico's in here, so she could tell you. She knows all about it. I was complaining to them all the time. I kind of gave up a little bit too, because I was like, my fucking complaints were kind of falling on deaf ears. they're like, all right, we'll call your brother's attorney. And then it was just like, I don't know. They were trying to, I guess, avoid going to court because it could get costly to fight something like this. So I went to go see my attorneys one day, and they're telling me, oh, like the way that they sold this to me, they made it sound like it was going to happen really quick. We're going to, we have all the evidence we need, and we're going to get your brother out of the picture, basically. Not out of the picture. He'll still get his half of his inheritance, but we just won't have to deal with his wife. That was my whole thing, dude. If my brother would have just talked to me like a normal person, none of this shit would have went the way it did. And I still can't understand why they had to put me through that. I still don't get it. I really don't. But because like whatever. It went against everything my mom wanted, and he knew that, and he didn't care. He didn't care. He knew that. My aunts knew that. They all knew that. And they didn't care. They didn't care about my mom. The whole time we settled my mom's estate, I think that was the most upsetting thing for me, is that like she got lost in the whole entire process. Nobody was thinking about her except for me. Nobody was thinking about her. Nobody cared about what she wanted. Nobody cared about her. And it was just so sad. Like, there was the times when they just wanted to throw all her shit out. Like, she didn't want that. She specifically told people she didn't want that. And they didn't care. Like, how do you not care? How do you not fucking care what somebody wants when they're gone, when they leave this world? Maybe my mom is partially to blame for that, because maybe she wasn't clear enough with my brother about certain things. I don't know. But he knew the one big thing was that she didn't want his wife involved. And he knew that. And he still not only made her involved, but let her control everything. I've been typing. If you need me, just let me know. Okay. This happens because he didn't talk to you like you wanted. Well, no. I dream of drama. Here's the thing. My brother was my co-executor, not his wife. You know what I'm saying? He was my co-executor. But I knew either way, it wasn't going to matter, because she controls him. So she's going to control him and everything else that he does. But I mean, we couldn't even talk on the phone. She would not allow us to talk on the phone. We weren't allowed to meet up in person. So anytime I had to give him any like documents or anything like that pertaining to the estate, they told me to mail them. But then at the same time, they were like, you're not doing what you're supposed to do. You're moving too slow. So it was like, I was damned if you know what I'm saying? It was one of those situations where it's like, you're damned if you do and you're damned if you don't. If I try to be proactive and get everything done, they complain about the way I'm doing it. But then when I'm not doing what I'm supposed to do, they complain that I'm not doing anything. So it's like, it's just to complain. It's the whole narcissist fucking head game that my brother's wife likes to play with people. This is what she does. She's a fucking narcissist. She plays games with people for no rhyme or reason, just to be an asshole, just because she enjoys chaos. So, so it was, if she would have just not been in the picture, yeah, things would have went a lot more smooth. Between me and my brother, I wouldn't have had to fight him. I wouldn't have had to fucking argue with him all the time. And, if we would have just been able to talk to each other, things would have been a lot different. I'm not saying everything would have went, 100% smooth, but I don't know. I always tried to picture what it would have been like if she wasn't around and it was his ex that he used to be with, like how different things would have been. Yeah, they made it impossible. Exactly, Nick. They made everything impossible. Everything. No matter what I did. It was like, I felt like I was in, I was like one of those little rats that they use in the lab. And I was in a maze. And I'm just hitting dead ends all the time. Because it was like, no matter what I wanted, it didn't matter. It did not matter. My opinions didn't matter. My thoughts didn't matter. They fought me on everything, even stupid things that they didn't need to fight me on. For example, they told me I could go and take whatever I want from the house. I go in, I take one TV. Okay. My mom had two TVs. They were the exact same size. They were the exact same TV, except one was just like a little newer. You know, I gave them the newer one. I left that one for them and I took the one out of her bedroom. They didn't, you know, they had a complaint about that. Go bring the TV back. Why? Then I'm like, all right, I'll bring the TV back and you could have this one and I'll take the other one. It's not about the TV. Then what is it about? That's the kind of games I had to fucking play for months and months on end. Like normal people, normal, reasonable human beings don't do that to other people. They just don't. So anyway, yeah, I went to my attorneys. They told me, all right, we're going to write this thing up. What they had to do is they had to write this motion up to tell my attorney, to bring to court, you know, to a judge, basically. It was like the reasons why my brother needed to be removed as executor. So I go there, I hand them a $3,000 check. I think it was like in January of 2018, was it? I'm pretty sure it was January 2018. Right in the beginning. It was like around January 6th, right? I go there, hand them the check, and I'm thinking they're going to get it done within a week or so. They're going to have this whole thing written up. So, you know, because I figured they need a little time, obviously. In the meantime, my attorney tells me, go home, get all your evidence together, print out all your text messages, all the emails and all this other shit, and bring them back to me. So I do that. I even went so far as writing out the entire story, like from day one till the point we were at now, in like pretty great detail, and giving that to them and letting them figure, you know, they could pull from that what they want. I couldn't have made this shit any easier for these people, these attorneys. Like, as a client, I'm sorry, I was a fucking great client. Like, I had to say, I really was. I was a really good client because I paid on time always. You know, if they asked me to do something, it was done within 24 hours. Like, I would stay up all night and do it if I had to. And I was pretty organized. I mean, my attorney did compliment me at one point in time, telling me that I kept like impeccable records of shit. So, and it's not really that I'm organized. It's that I have a really good memory, you know, for shit. So like I really did. I had a really, really good memory. All the things that were said, emails, like I could recall everything. You said this to me on that day. I was like the Mandy. I was like the Mandy in this situation. You know, it's like in November 29, 2019. No, but anyway, so I got all my shit together. I bring it to them and I'm thinking it's going to be like a week that they're going to have this thing written up. So a week passes by and I'm like, okay, you know, I didn't hear from them. I contact them and they're like, oh, you know, here's a draft. The girl Jeannie who worked there, now she was my mom's neighbor. That's how I got the attorney. She gave me a draft, a rough draft. I go home, I read it. She emailed it to me. So I'm sitting home and I read it. And this thing was fucking horrible. Now, this was the problem. My attorney had, there was 3 attorneys that worked in my office. I hired this guy named Rich. Then there was another guy named Fred. And there was a third partner there. And it was Fred's wife. Her name was Patty. And I never fucking met this woman. Never met her, never had a conversation with her. And she's the one who's writing this thing up. So I'm like, how is this woman who never met me and never spoke to me and doesn't know the story really in detail, how is she going to write this thing up? So I couldn't even like be mad at this woman because why would you make her do this? Like, she's not my attorney. So, you know, that's why this thing was so messed up. I was like pretty pissed off. I'm like, here it is a week later, and this is what you hand me. It was like all wrong. Like all the shit was wrong. The details were wrong. And it wasn't even like shit, a couple of pages. Okay. So then like weeks and weeks and weeks and weeks go by. I'm writing to my attorneys and I start thinking to myself, you know what? I don't even know if this is worth it at this point. Pretty much everything's done. The house is emptied. Like all the bills are paid off. We got the house is for sale. Really, the last thing we had to do was wait for the house to close. That's all that was left to do, was wait for the contracts to be signed and done. And then that was it. It was over. So what am I sitting here waiting for? We collected all the money. Like, there was nothing left to do. So I'm thinking, like, I got myself into a really bad position now because it's almost done. And the house is now getting closer and closer to the point where it's closing. And these motherfuckers haven't even gotten anything into court yet. And they sold it to me. I should probably say this. At the end of an estate, you have to do this final accounting, okay? I didn't know what the fuck that was. I never did an accounting on an estate before in my life. They sold it to me by telling me that, you know, you don't want to have to do the accounting with them. They're going to make it hell for us. They're going to make it torture. And I was, you know, I'm taking these guys' words. They're my attorneys. They do this shit all the time. I don't know what the fuck an accounting is in an estate and how, you know, how entailed it is and everything like that. So they were like, well, that's how they sold it to me, that I didn't want to do this accounting. So that was really all that was left: the house, the close, and the accounting, this final accounting for the estate. So I'm believing them. And another couple weeks goes by. We're now into like February, and I'm pissed. I write to my attorney and I'm telling him, dude, I can't do this anymore. I can't do this anymore. Like, if you guys don't have this done, and I hate to be like this because I really tried to be like an understanding client, and I tried to not push them and try to be, you know, understanding that I'm not their only client. They have other things going on, whatever. But I was like, listen, I gave you guys a month to write this thing. You know, if I don't have it by this day, I just want to back out. I don't even want to do this anymore. I told them. Never got an answer. I had reached out to them several times and I would not get answers. And I was keeping everything in writing because I was starting to get the feeling that these attorneys were kind of taking me for a ride. So I was putting everything in writing. So I would always contact them through email to keep a record, just in case I had to sue these guys for my $3,000 back that I handed them, you know, a month prior. I was like, you know, I was just getting the feeling something wasn't right. Like, this whole thing was not making much sense. And why were they taking so long? And they just kept making excuses. Oh, we'll do it by this day. And then it wouldn't be done. So finally, one day, it's February, it's a month. It was like a little over a month later. And I still didn't have this thing. Now, we had to wait for them to not only write this thing, then we had to wait for somebody to enter it into court. Then my brother's attorney had to respond to it. And I think he had like 30 days to respond to it or whatever it was, you know, whatever the time limit. Well, they had to serve him. It was a big process. And I'm like, by the time we get this all done, the estate's going to be settled. And it's not, you know, the house is going to be sold. And it's not like, what's the point at this point? I was really having second thoughts, and I expressed that to my attorneys as well. I was like, several times, and they never even said a word about it. They just kept putting me off, basically. And that's my advice to anybody, honestly. And I'm not putting this on my friend Jeannie because she couldn't, you know, she would have never known this was going to happen. And I think she was getting embarrassed at a certain point in time because they were taking a lot of time. They were fucking dragging the shit out of their feet. And, you know, but don't get an attorney that's a friend. Just don't. I don't hire friends. I don't know why I did in this situation. I wouldn't even hire a friend to work on my house. Like, just because when you hire somebody that you know to do something for you that's important, you know, and they give you a break or some type of break, because I could guarantee you guys I didn't pay half as much money for my attorney as my brother paid for his. But if somebody's giving you a break, they tend to not work as hard for you. You know, so I would rather pay out my ass and have somebody who makes me a priority and who works their asses off for me and cares than somebody that I'm getting a break from who is, you know, putting me on the back burner all the time. That's what I felt like at this point. So finally, one day I said, this is it. I was fuming. And I don't know if my cousin's still in here, but she could attest to this because I was like, dude, I had worse anxiety. I was doing this to try to make my anxiety better, and it actually ended up making my anxiety 10 times worse than it was. So I I went down there. I drove down to my attorney's office and I'm like, yo, what the fuck is going on? Like, I was pissed. I'm like, what is going on? Like, where is my shit? Forget it. And oh, we sent it to you. That's what my friend Jeannie says. Oh, Patty sent it to you. I'm like, what? So I'm looking through my emails. No, she didn't. She never sent it to me. And she's like, yeah, she sent it 2 weeks ago. Okay, if you sent it 2 weeks ago, why 2 weeks go by? You guys know how anxious I was to get this thing because I kept contacting you about it and bothering you. Why would you let 2 weeks pass by and not say, hey, Leanna, we didn't hear back from you? Like, you're the attorney. Why wouldn't you follow up and say, hey, you were very anxious to get this, motion written up. And now we sent it 2 weeks ago and now we haven't heard from you at all. Like, I was fucking crazy. This place let me just explain my attorney's office real quick. My attorney's office ran like a fucking Fred Flintstone fucking Spacely Sprockets ancient goddamn office. This guy, I'm surprised he wasn't chiseling out notes on a fucking piece of rock. Like, it was so disorganized and bad. I mean, it was like horrible. They were no computers. This guy didn't even have a fucking computer on his desk. He was in his 80s. No, I'm sorry. He was 78, or at least I think that's what he told people. I don't know. I forget. So, Jules, get the fuck out of here, you dumb bitch. Anyway, he was in his 80s, and could somebody block her ass for now? Because I don't need you in here distracting, you stupid skank. Anyway, so he was in his 80s, and it was like they had no system. And there was no system there. It was bad. I mean, his secretary was old. She still took dictation. Now, I don't know if you guys know what dictation is, but like, it's like you write like this. It looks like you're writing hieroglyphics or some shit, or Chinese. I don't know. Like, it's not like actual fucking words. I mean, that's how old fashioned this guy was. Okay. So it was a mess. So anyway, we finally figured out, my friend Jeannie prints it out for me. Okay. The thing that was supposedly sent to me. I never got it. I still to this day don't know if they actually sent it or not. I think they spelled my email wrong. Dude, let me just tell you something. Everybody was making fun of Laura a couple months ago. Like, oh, FBI guys would never spell things wrong. Dude, my attorneys had the worst fucking grammar I have ever seen in my life. Just because people are attorneys or in a high position, that does not mean that they have good English skills. These guys spelled things wrong all the fucking time. I mean, at the beginning of this shit, when I got my papers, they spelled my fucking name wrong. They didn't proofread anything. It was terrible. It was fucking terrible. So they gave me, all right, so I finally get this thing in my hands. It's fucking 30 paragraphs long of all my brother's misconduct, okay? When I finish my videos, I'll read it to you guys. It's too long to read right now. And they finally wrote this whole thing up. It listed everything. Some of the things the girl got wrong. So I had to have her make corrections. Oh, what a pain in the ass. So she corrected the few things and then she still had them wrong. Like, dude, I couldn't make this shit any easier for these people. I would write out, like, I'm a good writer. I know that about myself. I'm very good at writing. So I would write things out, even like professionally, but with like great detail in them too. And she would fucking still fuck these things up. I don't know if they just didn't read. I don't know. I don't know. I don't know what these people's problem was. So finally, I'm just like, okay, send this thing. Just send it. I don't even fucking care. I had to sign it and date it, and that was it. The next thing that was going to happen was that I had to now wait for my attorneys to bring this thing into the court. And then what would happen was the court would then notify my brother, and then he would be served with papers. And then, and then we take it from there. So now it's like, trying to think, February, okay, 2 weeks goes by, February. Now we're in March of 2018 and the house closes. So now I really don't know why we're still doing this. They hadn't even served my brother yet. They hadn't even served it. Now, if I didn't have a case, the attorney could have very easily, oh shit, that's right. Hold on. I'm thinking of all sorts of shit that happened during that time. But this, I have to say, in the end, this was kind of worth it for me because I did kind of get what I wanted out of it. I didn't have to deal with them anymore. From this point out, everything went through the attorneys. I didn't communicate with them anymore. I wouldn't email with them. My attorney told me not to, so I didn't. He goes, don't answer their emails. Let them contact their attorney and have their attorney contact us. At this point in time, this shit's so bad. The fucking fighting and all this shit had gotten so bad that it was like we couldn't talk anymore. I couldn't talk to them anymore. It was like, no, I'm not doing this anymore. I'm not fighting with these people over mail and every little thing. I mean, just everything. So my attorney, what do you call it? It's March now, and I had to go get these papers signed by the neighbors because I don't know, there was some issue with the land, and I think we got that taken care of. Like my neighbors, the same thing happened in my house where I live now. My mom's neighbors had like 8 inches of her property, so we had to. Oh yeah, that didn't happen until the very end. We had about 8 inches of property, right, on each side, so we had to get the neighbors to sign off just this consent thing, saying that they knew. So my brother went to the one neighbor, I went to the other neighbor. We got those signed off, and then the house, I think, closed in March, I'm pretty sure. So at that point now, I'm like, all right, my brother still hasn't even been served. The whole entire month of March goes by, and then it's April, and I think Easter was coming. It was like Easter. It was like, oh my God. Well, I'm trying to think when it got into court. I don't know. We were waiting for him to get served. I remember that. They couldn't find him. He wasn't answering his front door. They went to his house a few times. I believe his wife said he wasn't there. I don't know. It was crazy. So finally, I, once again, had to fucking take matters into my own hands, which I had to do several times during this whole thing. I go and I tell my attorney, here's where he works. I took a picture of his truck. I said he comes out at whatever time. I had to go sit outside his job so I could find his truck, and took a picture of it for my attorney to give to the service, the process servers, because he wouldn't answer his door. So they had to catch him coming out of work. So I sat there one day incognito in the parking lot, waited for him to come out so I could see what time he gets out of work, and then, took a picture of his truck so that they could do that, because that was the only way we were going to be able to serve him. So he got served, and of course he was not happy. This is now in April after Easter, and I remember me and my cousin Nico went to the IMATs in the city, and that was the day that my brother found out that this was happening. And I started getting the most crazy ass desperate emails from them, like, oh, if you're going to do this, of course, the threats, I forgot, they were threatening me. And then my brother's wife started writing these emails, and she was like, this bitch is so crazy. She was trying to make it look like I was the one being difficult. So she was writing these emails, and then she would put like first attempt on it, because I wasn't answering them. But I wasn't answering them at the advice of my attorney, because we now have a case in the court and I don't want to screw it up. So, I'm not answering them. So every time I didn't answer him, she would send the email again, and she would put first attempt, second attempt, third attempt, fourth attempt, to try to make it look like I'm not communicating with them, and I'm like, no, we're too late for that now. This whole time that I was trying to communicate with my brother, and he refused to communicate with me, and we have long records of that. You can't turn this around now and make it like I'm the one not communicating. I put a motion into the court. That's why I'm not communicating with you at this point. Our communication's done at this point. I'm not talking to them at all. So she kept trying all these ways to, weasel it out or scare me or tell me, you're not going to get your money. She was trying to use the money against me. It was like fucking crazy. And this went on for all the way up until the summer. The house was gone, right? The new owners moved in, and it's now in like the middle of the summer, and she's still sending me these bullshit emails trying to scare me and threaten me and all this other shit. And I'm like, this is just now getting held up. My brother answered. I forget what his answer was. Holy shit. It's so weird. The more recent shit, I have more trouble remembering, but I know they answered, And my brother basically like denied any of our accusations. He denied everything. So I was like, well, that's not going to look too good because you're totally lying. We have proof to back up everything we said. Yeah, he was pissed. It was crazy. He was really pissed. But we had proof to back up like everything. As you guys saw in my videos, everything, if you watched all the videos, you saw all the proof. You saw it all. So I was like, it was like, I think around July finally. And I was just like, dude, I can't take this anymore. You know, no, this thing's not moving. The house, like, we could basically settle this estate right now and just walk away from each other. But now I'm tied up in court, waiting, just sitting here waiting. And God only knows what's going to happen because, of course, my brother is fighting it, you know, which, you know, it's kind of fucking crazy because at that point in time, he could have just been like, you know what, Liana, whatever. He could have just walked away. But, you know, it wasn't him. It was his wife. She's, you know, a control freak and a power freak. And this was like a one time in my life where I really had to just say, you know what, Liana, what's more important? Your sanity, your family, moving on with your life, going, you know, grieving, like actually grieving and not having to deal with these people because this is all just a distraction from what's really happening, which is the fact that I lost my mom and my life is going to be forever different. You know, is this really worth it in the end? So I think it was sometime in July. I finally, oh wait, no, hold on. Let me back up for a second. Before this happened, my attorney was going away on vacation. This is fucking crazy. You can't make this shit up. My attorney was going away on vacation to Vegas. His kid lived there. He wasn't going there to party. The guy was like in his fucking 80s. Couple of days after he leaves, I got a fucking phone call from my friend Jeannie. She's like, Liana, you're not going to believe this. I'm like, what? She's like, Richard died. I'm like, what? Yeah, he died. My fucking attorney died during this whole thing, this whole shit show. He dies in the middle of it. So now nobody knows what they're going to do. This whole thing is frozen because the guy that was working with in his office wasn't really a partner. So they didn't know what to do. Everything, all his cases got locked up at that point in time. That guy couldn't get any money, nothing. So it was a fucking mess. Then I come to find out this motherfucker, God rest his soul, was bankrupt. And there was all these, you can't make this shit up. So all his money was locked up. It was insane. They were having trouble now, you know, trying to get his money out and moving. And they didn't know what they were going to do. And I was panicked, man. I even started reaching out to other attorneys because I really did not know what to do at this point in time. I was like, what am I going to do? Like, my attorney's gone. He's dead. What is that? Where does that leave me? Do I have to pay another attorney now? Like, I was freaking out. And I was like, at this point, my brother's kind of lucky that this happened in a sense because I was like, you know what? I just woke up one day and was like, I just need to drop this. We need to drop it so I can move the fuck on with my life. I don't want to be tied to these people anymore. Like, I just don't want any connection with them. I don't want to fight them. I need them the fuck out of my life. I just need them out of my life. So, you know, winning, yeah, would have been nice. It would have been nice to stick it to Satan. You know, they would have gotten into some trouble and they also probably would have had to pay all my attorney's fees. Which would have been something to the tune of, you know, maybe $10,000 or so dollars, because, you know, I wouldn't have had to use my attorney as often as I did if they didn't give me such a hard time all the time. But I was like, dude, I don't care about the money. I don't care. I don't care about the money. Never did. Never cared about the money. Wasn't about that for me. It was just about my mom and her fucking wishes and trying to just finish what I started, you know, like, you're basically, when you're settling an estate, you're finalizing somebody's existence on paper, and it's fucked up, but that's what it is. You know, it's like a business. It's weird. It's a weird thing. Oh, never mind. Sorry. I thought I saw something. So I just finally had to go to this other attorney now. And I'm like, dude, what could we do to get out of this? I need to just drop it. I'm done. I just want to get out of this. I want to move on with my life. That took from July until October that year. In fact, Halloween, October 2018, I believe. I went down to my attorney's office. I wrote out a check to myself, wrote out a check to my brother. We sat there. I got there first, obviously. It was my attorney's office. It was weird. The office had a whole new vibe to it. Jeannie left. Jeannie went and got a new job at this point in time. I went and sat down in there, and my brother's attorney came in. My attorney was not in the room yet. And he actually apologized to me. He was like, I'm so sorry that you had to go through all this. And I'm like, it is what it is. You know, I said, it is what it is. There's nothing we could do to change it. I said, I'm just happy that it's over now. And I just want to move on with my life. And and he goes, well, this happens a lot. Like, he was trying to like comfort me, I guess, that, siblings fight with each other. And, he was like, hopefully you guys could talk, but I kind of get the feeling that's not going to happen. I said, no, it's definitely not happening. Not on my end. I don't want anything to do with these people. So my brother comes walking in, didn't even fucking look at me, didn't say a word to me. We sat down at this table. We signed checks over to each other, passed them across the table, signed some paperwork. We did the whole accounting, which didn't end up being that big of a fucking deal like they made it out to be. My brother didn't fight for some reason. I don't even remember why. And that was it. We walked away. And I never talked to him again. That was the last time I saw him. And that was it. Didn't even say a word to him. And I remember I got out in my car and I started hysterically crying in the car, just like out of relief, out of just sadness, because my mom would have been devastated knowing that shit just went down like that we didn't even say a fucking word to each other and that we didn't even look at each other. But I don't know. I guess she'd understand now after all the shit. I mean, at least she'd understand on my part. I know she would. But for him, I don't know. It's his problem. He's got to deal with it. But that was basically like how everything ended. It was just, we just walked away. So I haven't talked to him since. I get a lot of comments on here of people asking if I've spoken to him. No, I haven't. I haven't spoken to my brother since 2013. The guy that I speak to, that I did even speak to in the last 5-6 years, that's not my brother. I don't even know who that guy is. He's a fucking total stranger to me. So my real brother, I haven't spoken to him since March of 2013, before he met Satan. So I don't know what his life is like. I don't care. I hope he's happy. I hope everything he did was worth it. I hope he fucking could put his head down at night and look at his fucking piece of shit wife and, lovingly. I don't know. I hope he could sleep at night. I'm sure he can, because he kind of doesn't have a heart anymore. So I'm sure it was very easy for him. Hell, I mean, the guy was sleeping while my mom was sick. He left that last night and went to a fucking party that his wife was having at his house. The last night of my mom's life. So I wouldn't put anything by him. He's probably fine and just went on with his life. For me, it wasn't that easy. I didn't walk away from this, like relieved or happy or scot-free or anything like that. I was a fucking wreck. I was a mess. I was depressed. I was sad. I was angry. I was all sorts of things. I walked away way more fucked up than I went in to that thing. His wife managed to, get to me and mentally destroy me in some ways, but not in all ways. Because in the end, I did win. You know, I won. I wasn't even supposed to be a fucking executor on my mom's estate. You know, I wasn't even on there when I started. When my mom passed away, I was not on her will as an executor. I was there as a beneficiary, but I fought and fought and fought and fought and won, basically. In the end, I won. You know, I hate looking at it like that because there's no winning in a situation like this. But I mean, that's the only word I can think to. You know what? Forget one. I succeeded. That's probably a better word. I succeeded on what I set out to do. I didn't win because there is no winning in this situation. I would trade everything to have my mom back. Like, this shit's all, there's nothing good feeling about it at all. There's nothing good feeling about it. You know, some people are like, oh, it's money. Money don't do nothing for me, man. It never did. I mean, yeah, it's nice to have, but I don't know. I'd rather have my mom. So, yeah, B-Fergs, it completely delayed my grieving process, which basically started then from that point out, you know. I mean, it didn't totally delay it. I mean, I got to do the things that I wanted to do. One of the most important things to me the whole time was just being able, because my mom expressed to me that she doesn't want strangers going through her house. She would be mortified, you know, just trying to keep her dignity somewhat intact. Not that she had anything in her house to be even embarrassed about, you know. In fact, her house wasn't as bad as I thought it was going to be to like clean out. I mean, I did most of it by myself and it wasn't that bad. It was just, I'm so glad I got to do that. That's what I needed to do because, you know, I got to touch everything and feel everything and just, you know, like I got to like, I don't know, say goodbye to everything. Say goodbye to her house. Say goodbye to the things in her house. Say goodbye to my family, my memories, like all that shit. I don't know how I would have been if I didn't get to do that, you know? Sorry, I'm just rinsing something out. But yeah, you live and learn. Sometimes you got to make choices in life that are so hard. You know, like that was a hard choice for me to just drop that. Like, you know, because I wanted it. And this is why I laugh at some of the people on here that are so set on getting revenge on people and being vindictive. You won in the sense of her wishes, her estate was higher. Exactly, Neek. Exactly. Everything would have been dumped in a dumpster if it were up to them. You needed it too for your process. Exactly. Like I got my closure and I needed that, you know. What do you call it? Oh, when I see people on here like over this stupid fucking YouTube shit, right? That they will like want to get back at people. I know the feeling, man. You don't know how badly I wanted to stick it to my fucking brother and his wife. You don't know how badly I just wanted to be like, fuck you, you fucking pieces of shit. Like, I can't even explain it, but I had to give that up. That because my sanity in the end was more important than saying fuck you. You know what I'm saying? It was more important. I was like, I'm driving myself nuts. This thing that I did that I was supposed to do to make my life easier is actually making me more stressed out because now I'm tying myself to these assholes for a longer period of time. I don't want them in my life anymore. This isn't worth it. Let fucking his stupid ass wife walk away and think that she fucking won. She didn't win. She didn't win at all. She didn't get anything that she wanted out of this. She got a fucking butterfly magnet and yoga socks, but she didn't get anything else that she thought she was going to get out of it. So you know what? I won in the end. And even if I didn't win that case, I still won in that sense. And I hate saying won, but you know what I mean. And I don't need to stick it to them because they're going to be miserable, right? In the end. When his wife doesn't have me to focus on anymore, she's going to start turn that anger and then narcissism on him. And he's going to fucking pay the price for it. Not me. Not me. There is nothing in me that believes that they're fucking happily married. Nothing. I am, though. You know what I'm saying? I am. My husband gave me the respect that I needed to go through all this shit. Every step of the way. Every step of the way. My husband respected me. He helped me, you know, he knew exactly what I needed to do. And from the time my mom got sick to the time that we were doing all this shit, he had my back 100% every step of the way. He respected my wishes. He respected my other, their wishes. He respected everybody's wishes. That's what a real man does. That's what a real man does. That's why I laugh at people on here when they're like, oh, Mika Mobster's husband. You guys don't know what we've been through, my husband and I. Like, these types of things that you go through, they only bring you closer together, and are we by any means perfect? No, but we've been through so much shit together in the 10 years that we've been together, this being the biggest, that we're so close. Like, it changed our relationship. It brought us a lot closer together. We have a new understanding for each other. He had my back so much. Like, I just thank God for him. Thank fucking God for him. Really. And you, Nick, my cousin in the chat right now. Because my cousin Nico, if she wasn't there, I definitely wouldn't have got through this. Like, I can't thank her enough too. All everything, the grief, the, fighting with everybody, everything. If she wasn't there for me, I never would have gotten through this shit. Ever. Now that time has passed, the moon starts to scare over. Do you have a change of heart or realization in your relationship and interested in reuniting with your brother? Nope. Guido, it makes me really sad that my brother has a kid that's close in age to my kid, and she's a girl. Like, I would love to have a little girl, I mean, I'm always in the store and I'm like, oh, look at the cute little, little girl outfits and stuff. And it makes me sad because, he's missing out on my kid's life. I'm missing out on his kid's life. It really, really hurts me. It makes me sad. But I don't want to talk to him. I have no desire to talk to him because he's not the same person anymore. I don't want to talk to the person that he is now. I don't like this person. I don't like the version of him that he is now. He's an asshole. He's a fucking asshole. And he's taken on a lot of his wife's like narcissistic traits and shit. And I just don't want to be around that. I got no time for that shit. If he ever, I'll put it like this. If he ever, picked up the phone and wanted to have a real fucking conversation about shit, yeah, absolutely. I would have a conversation with him. Do I know that, that it would work? No. I mean, now it would probably be better than a few years ago because I'm not as angry anymore at him. But I'm not going to be the one picking up the phone this time. In the past, when things have happened between us, I always picked up the phone. I was the fixer in my family. I know we talked about this another time, and my cousin Nico is kind of the same way too. Certain people, like when you look at family dynamics and roles and everything, there's always one person that becomes the fixer. Okay. In my family, and even like kind of in my extended family too, I was always the fixer. I always felt this responsibility, like I had to fix everything that was wrong in the family, and it's you put a lot of pressure on yourself when you're in that position, so because you just want to have peace. You don't want to have fucking everybody fighting and issues and tension and shit like that. So you become the fixer and you try to fix everybody else's fucking problems. But you know what happens when you're the fixer? You put your own fucking problems on the back burner. You tend to put yourself on the back burner. You don't take care of yourself. You don't worry about your own emotional needs. And because you're so busy worried about everybody else's. And I did that my whole entire life. And now at 40 years old, I have to put myself first. You know what I'm saying? My feelings, my emotions, my mental health has to come before anybody's. Why? Because I have a kid. I have to be the best mother that I could be to my kid. Just like Jesse deserves what I had. My mom was the best mom ever. I know, so many people say that their mom's the best, but no, my mom was. You know what I'm saying? I was so lucky to have her in my life for the 35 years that I had her. So my son deserves that in return too. if I'm not mentally healthy and I'm not like at peace and I'm worrying about everybody else's feelings and everybody else's shit, that's going to take away from him. So I finally had to like tell myself one day, Liana, you can't fix the fucking world. You can't fix everybody's problems. And I certainly can't fix my brother. So I don't want to reach out to him. I have no desire to talk to him. That's funny. Neek, remember, I totally forgot about this. This was actually really funny. I was telling you guys, so I went to the IMATS one day with my cousin Nico in April. This was right after I had filed my thing and my brother got served, okay? Right after he received this thing. Do you know this motherfucker writes me an email, and it's his wife, not him. She says, oh, I was talking to my friend John. No fucking idea who John is, okay? Nor do I give a fuck what John thinks, okay? This guy, John, my brother has a friend, John, that he met here, but the guy lives in Georgia, so they're like kind of like online friends, just like you guys are to me. I don't even know how close my brother is with this guy anymore. But he goes, and I know that my brother wasn't writing this because it was so ridiculous. She goes, I was talking to my friend John, and John feels like we may have a shot at reconciliation. Like, why do I care what John thinks? They were basically, this fucking sick fuck in her head actually thought after all this shit that things got to a point where I had to file a fucking petition in a court to get these fucking assholes out of my life. This narcissist in her fucked up brain thought that I still wanted to reconcile with them. That's how fucking narcissistic she is. So goddamn narcissistic that she can't even process the fact that people want nothing to do with her. That people don't want to be around her because she's a fucking toxic piece of shit. So, like, it was the funniest thing. I was like, I don't care what John, whoever the fuck that is, thinks. John's wrong. Did you tell John what took place in the last 2 years? John might change his mind if he actually knew the truth, okay? I don't want to reconcile with you. I have no desire to reconcile with you. So they were trying to sell it to me like, hey, we could be friends, drop your thing, drop your motion that you entered against us. Yeah, this motherfucker actually had the balls to tell me that their friend John thought we could reconcile. I laughed at it. Fucking unbelievable. One of many stories of manipulation. Yep. This girl did everything in her power to try to manipulate me. That's why, again, I laugh when people say things like, oh, Mega Mobster is being manipulated. Dude, Mega Mobster cannot be manipulated. It don't happen. It can't happen. It just can't. Nobody manipulates me. Nobody controls me. And you know why? Because my mom was the fucking strongest woman I've ever met in my life. And she raised a stronger woman. You know what I'm saying? So it's not happening. Not happening. Yeah, she was trying to manipulate me. She was trying to manipulate me and get in my feels. Because see, a motherfucker like that knows that somebody like me, that my feelings, are important to me. And, what's crazy throughout the whole process, right? The 2 years I talked to this piece of shit, I would bring up things like, this loss has been really hard for me. It's devastating. Not once did neither one of them say, you know what? This is hard for me too. I lost my mom too. I'm grieving too. I never fucking heard those words from those two pieces of shit. Never. Not one time. Never. Like, think about that. Do the whole fucking thing. Not one time did I hear, I lost my mom too. I'm grieving too. I'm upset too. Never heard that. Never. There was no feelings from them in this whole entire thing. And that, to me, is the most disturbing fucking part of all of it. From nobody. Nobody. whenever we could kept her alive way longer than doctors gave her. It hurts me is her ghosting my kids. They are absolutely innocent. I do not bother her or give her time. Who's that, Jonice? You're a sibling? Listen, my brother didn't pay attention to my son. Like the last time he was actually an uncle to my son was when Jesse was 6 months old. And again, his loss, not mine. You know what I'm saying? His loss, not Jesse's loss, his loss. My son's fucking amazing. My brother's missing out on it because of his fucking asshole wife, you know? And that's his fucking loss, really. But hey, my son knows about my brother. We talk about him. You know, he knows that my brother was a big Star Wars fan. And, you know, we'll go shopping and shit. And he'll be like, oh, mom, you know, uncle, whatever, would love that. And I'd be like, yeah, he would. Well, he doesn't even call him uncle. He just says his name. We don't call him uncle here. Yeah. The hardest thing is going to be to explain this all to my son one day. You know, he knows that there's like family out there. He knows that I have cousins and shit. My mom had sisters. I mean, he knows my cousin Nico and her son, but you know, like the other people that I don't talk to anymore, the other, you know, family members that I don't communicate with anymore. You know, that part's going to be a little hard to explain to him, but, you know, it is what it is. I'm better off in the end, you know? So people here are like, oh, Makeup Monster's family disowned her. No, they didn't. I disowned them. Nico, my cousin Nico, she kind of disowned them too. It was a choice of mine. It wasn't their choice. It was my choice. Did I try to make peace with them and mend things? Yes, I did. Why? Probably out of guilt more for my mom than for myself, you know? So my mom's not here anymore. I don't have to keep a relationship with them anymore. The relationship that I kept with some of them, not all of them, but some of them was purely because of my mom and nothing else. You know, I spoke to, you know, specifically my aunt who I called Betty and the one Uncle Bob. They were on that list, you know, that I was respectful towards them and kept in contact with them for my mom. But if it were up to me, I would have stopped talking to them probably about 10, 15 years ago. So, you know, my aunt, the one I refer to as Debbie, while she's the more evil one in a sense, you know, I did truly care about her. I cared about her daughter. She's my godmother, you know, and that hurts. It hurts to not talk to her anymore. But she's in the last few years shown me her fucking true colors. And I don't want anything to do with her. I just don't. My other mom siblings that are left behind, I just kind of chose to pull away from for my own, again, mental health. I needed to kind of heal. You can't get, I say this all the time. You guys have probably heard me say it a million times, but you can't get better in the same environment you got sick in. So staying in contact with anybody that was in contact with those people, my aunt, my brother, you know, and any of the assholes that were involved in this shit, you know, I can't have that connection right now because I need to get myself better. You know, hearing about them. My one aunt was using my mom's youngest sister for a while, for a pretty long time. She was using her as a tool to get to me. So every time I would talk to that aunt, she would be like, oh, well, Aunt so-and-so said this and told me to tell you this. And I said, I'm not, nope, sorry. I got to cut you out too then. If you're, you know, relaying messages for her constantly and she's using you, not even caring about what my aunt was going through, because my aunt was going through a lot of shit at the time herself, plus dealing with my mom's death. And I mean, she couldn't even respect, you know, those boundaries, because she has no boundaries. That's why I don't want her in my fucking life. She has no fucking boundaries whatsoever, my Aunt Debbie. So, you know, I just for my own sake and my own sanity and my own healing, I just stepped away from them everyone, because it was just best for me. Now 4 years has passed and I haven't heard from them. I'm still friends with my mom's one sister on Facebook and stuff, but that's about as far as our relationship goes, you know. And I'll always love her and have a great deal of respect for her because she got me through one of the hardest times in my life prior to my mom dying. So, I'm always going to have that love and respect for her and my uncle. They've helped me out, in many different ways over the years. And so, I'll always have that love there and that respect there for them. But, there's still anybody who's still in the brainwashing, as I like to call it, I just can't have a relationship with them. As fucked up as that is, because my thinking has changed so much over the last couple of years. And when you step out of a situation that was toxic and you really start looking at it and you start seeing like what's really going on behind the scenes, it's really hard to go back. You can't unsee things. Once you start seeing the light in a situation, it's hard to unsee that light, so I can't just, I don't know. I can't just turn it off. It is what it is. And if you're in the brainwashing still, I don't want anything to do with you. You know what I'm saying? I don't know what to call it. I guess my integrity is more important to me than anything. Like going with my beliefs and my comfort level, I don't know, is more important to me than having, like I say this all the time. Maybe there's a better way to put it. I'd rather have one really, really, really good friend that you could trust and, count on than 10 fake friends. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's how I feel with my family. It's like, I don't need them around if it's just going to be phony. If I'm just talking to them out of respect for whatever, I don't need to have that. That's not a real relationship to me. So if that's what it is, I don't want it in my life. I did it for way too long. Sat in a situation. Your mother's family was very immersed in that family dynamic. The boundaries are low. Yes, Mega Master, they didn't fix it, and it passed to you. Exactly, Val. They were very enmeshed. They were very it's crazy. I don't know if I mentioned this. I don't think I mentioned this in my series. I might have touched on it quickly. When I was cleaning out my mom's house, one of the things I found in her attic was a box that had a bunch of letters in it. My mom moved when my mom and dad met back in the early 70s. My mom and dad moved to California. My dad, they met at work, my parents, right? And my mom actually hated my dad when they first met. As funny as that is, she called him pan face because he never smiled. And that never changed. He never smiled. My mom and dad met, and my dad, I think the company that they worked for was called John's Bargain Store. It was like I don't know if it was a nationwide company, but I know they had a lot of stores in the city, Brooklyn, Queens, and possibly like the tri-state area. I'm not sure, like Connecticut, whatever. So the company, I guess, went under, and this guy had reached out to my dad and asked, he was opening up a fabric store. My dad was an amazing, I don't know, he was kind of like a retail genius. I know that sounds like weird, but he was. My dad was very good and very well respected by people, in the retail world, I guess, at that time. And so, in that little area that he was in. And so this guy wanted my dad to come out and run a store for him because my dad was a very good businessman. Like, he was very smart, my dad, very smart. So my mom went with him. And I think my family, rightfully so, they were concerned. My dad was 12 years older than my mom. My mom was probably around, I don't know, I guess 24 or something like that. And, they were probably a little worried. Maybe she was a little older. I don't know. I think she was 24, 25 years old. But they were probably a little worried about her. This girl never left Brooklyn, never. They never left Brooklyn. My grandfather never brought them anywhere, never did anything with them. They never went on vacations. They never traveled. they lived in the projects. My mom grew up in the projects and, stayed there until she was an adult, basically. And now my dad comes along and he's kind of like this guy that's got a little bit of money, and he's taking her out of the projects. Like, it's all good now. We out the hood now, So he takes her out the projects and they go to California. My mom ends up getting pregnant while she's there with my brother. And, I guess my family was, concerned. They didn't know my dad all that well and all that other shit, which is understandable. But when I found these letters, that's what they were. They were the letters from my aunt, specifically my one aunt, Betty, when I call Betty. And she's writing to my mom while she's in California. And it's so fucking manipulative, man. Like, they didn't want her to have her own life in California. Like, it was almost like they were jealous in a way that my mom was like, none of them ever left Brooklyn besides my cousin Nico's dad. He's the only one that ever left. He joined the Navy and he fucking was like, bye, I'm out of here. He's the oldest of the 6 kids. So he bounced out and went to, the Navy and got to travel the world. That's the only way he would have been able to travel the world, and now my mom left. And I think like my Aunt Betty, who's between the two of them in age, my mom and my cousin Nico's dad, I think she was a little jealous, that they left and they were seeing the world. My mom was out there in California. So she would just kind of write these like, things in these letters like, oh, well, you're not going to see the baby, because she was pregnant too. I think she had I have a cousin who's a year older than my brother. So, she was kind of trying to make my mom feel bad about not being there to see the baby. And, it's just like, just these little guilt things, I don't know. It was like, they didn't want my mom for whatever reason. They needed her here, I don't know why. I still wonder to that day why they needed her, like why they cared, why weren't they sitting there clapping for her and happy for her that she had found somebody and, she moved and she's living somewhere nice. And my parents did not last long in California, thank God. I mean, because if I grew up in California, I never would have met my husband and I wouldn't have Jesse. So thank God, they came back to New York, but they only lived there a very short time. I believe it was like a year, maybe even 2, maybe a little over a year. I don't know. But when they came back, it was all fucking guilt and no boundaries, dude. My family just like, I didn't realize how weird it was until I met my husband, really, because he comes from a bigger family. He has 4 kids in his family. And they're not like that. Like him and his, I mean, it is men. I know women are a little different, like sisters. My husband's a man. His brother, he has mostly brothers. He has 1 sister. But like, they're not on top of each other the same way my mom and her family is. And like, I thought that was normal. I really did. I thought it was normal my whole life for them to be so enmeshed in each other's lives in like adulthood. It's not fucking normal at all. Not at all. I mean, maybe in some families it is, but not in most families. So yeah, when you talk about the enmeshment, it's, and I was part of it too. I was the same way. I lacked boundaries because that's the way I was brought up, to lack boundaries with people in my family, where I feel like there's a lot of boundaries that normal people probably wouldn't have crossed that I crossed. Now I know that those boundaries are there, but I didn't understand that a few years ago. I didn't understand that there was like these boundaries, like these kind of unspoken boundaries. So in families, because my family has none. They don't fucking have any boundaries, they just fucking, it's their way or the highway. What's going on, Zero Filter Jules? Humpty Dumpty is really painful to find out people you trusted were really fake. Yeah, that is. It's one of the hardest things. One of the fucking hardest things. I will never forget when my mom was in the hospital. My uncle, like, he was mad at me for years, and I knew this. I knew he was pissed off at me because of, an incident that happened with his son and another cousin of mine that I unfortunately was pulled into. I knew he was hated me. I knew he did. Why? Because he hated my uncle and blamed him for what his son did, his son's choices. So I knew, that there was going to come a day that it was going to come out. And as soon as my mom was in that hospital that last time and she was like incapacitated in a sense, they had her on a really, really high dose of pain medicine. And it was kind of clear where things were headed. He didn't say a fucking word to me. He didn't even say sorry to me when my mom passed away. Fucking piece of shit that he is. But my whole family holds him up on a pedestal. He's such a great guy. Uncle Bob. He's a piece of shit. He's a piece of shit. We don't take any materials with us when we die, just our good name. Thank you, Lish. I'm proud of myself too. I don't care what anybody says. You didn't live my life. You didn't go through what I went through. Like, I know what I did. I'm confident with myself, I'm confident with knowing what I did. I miss my mom every fucking day. I think of her every day, still, every day. But, I'm confident with myself. That made it a lot easier, knowing that I did everything that I could do for her. And, there's things I regret that I should have done better, or times that I wasn't there when I should have been. But overall, I know I did everything in my life to, from the day my dad died till the day she died, that to try to make her happy. Did it always go that way? No. Did we have ups and downs? Yeah, we're family. That's what happens. But I know that in the end, like, I know how my mom felt about me, and I know how I feel about my mom. And that's all that matters. Like, that's all that matters. I could take that with me, and it brings me a lot of peace to know that I fucking was there for her. I don't know how everybody else is feeling. Do I wonder sometimes? Yeah, but at the end of the day, it's not my problem. Again, I'm not the fixer anymore. I don't need to fix anything except myself. Why do you choose to work it away from certain people in your family? You were right for standing against certain things. Thank you, Lish. Yes. I don't talk in depth about the situation on here out of respect for, the victim, I guess. But, there's a deeper story that I still don't feel that comfortable talking about on here, and don't know if I ever will. I've hinted, I guess, in a way, but, there's a reason for everything. A good reason. Because trust me, it was not an easy decision to, like, finally say, oh, you know what? This is it. I don't want to talk to these people anymore. Like, it was not easy at all. It was the hardest thing I've ever had to, make in my life. The hardest decision. But, I had to do it. I just had to. Too many things happened. Too many boundaries were crossed. Too many things were said that can't be unsaid. And again, and I feel this way with anybody in my family. If you want to call me up and have a fucking real conversation with me, like a real conversation, I'm willing to talk to anybody. The communication's always open, but I'm not going to talk lies. I want to have a real conversation, and I'm not going to just pretend nothing happened. We need to talk about this shit. But I know that'll never happen because none of them can face what they've done. So I'm the only one who seems to be able to face what I've done, but they can't. Right, wrong, or indifferent. I can face it. I did face it. My family has a tendency to not deal with problems, and that in turn creates way bigger problems. You need to deal with things. You need to face them. You need to talk about them. That's the only way you're gonna grow from things. They don't do that. They just want to pretend and live in their make-believe world that everything's fucking peaches and rainbows. Not here, girl. I live in reality. Fulfilled, absolutely beautiful. I also feel the same about my mom. She knew who I was. She knew who was there for her. I am at peace. I pray my one sister and one brother finds their peace one day too. Donisa, I had an aunt, one of my aunts would tell me, pray for them, pray for them. And you know what? I really struggled with that thought. I'm not really religious, so you know that's part of the reason. But the other part of the reason is I just like I don't have any compassion left for these people. I don't have any care left because they had none towards me, you know, and I mean they had a severe lack of compassion towards me. So it's really hard for me to have it in return to them. So I was, you know, I'm like, why? Why would you want to pray for somebody you fucking hate? I never understood that. But I guess in some terms I could see that because I can now understand it a little bit. They're sick. You know what I'm saying? They're sick people. And it's like you just have to pray for them that they'll one day see the error in their ways. Like, I don't know. No guilt, MM. I know I tried the best I could with what I had at the time. My mom ended up dead because the MS destroyed her. Oh my God. When she died, her legs were, oh my God, girl, that's so sad. Well, then they will live with the bitterness for the rest of their lives. What a way to live. Now, you know, Soldier Photo, they say that towards me. They think I'm bitter. They think I'm, you know, stuck and I can't move on. And they, you know, my aunt, I can't tell you how many times she's tried to gaslight me and tell me I need help and this and that and the other thing. And like, you know, first of all, I probably do need help. Look what I've been through. I lost my mom. You know, that right there is just enough to warrant getting help on some shit and having some emotional problems. But, you know, then look at all the other shit I went through on top of that. Of course I fucking need help, you know? Somebody in my position would need help, but I don't need it in the way that she's saying I need it. You know, I know that I've made the right decisions for myself. I know that I'm mentally strong. I know that I know I did the right thing. So I know I don't need help. She wants me to believe I'm crazy because you have to be, right? You have to be crazy if you don't want to be around these people because they're so wonderful. So if you don't want to be around them, then that must mean that something's wrong with me, not them. Can never be them. It has to be me that there's something wrong with, you know? And the fact that I don't believe that pisses her off even more. So that's where the gaslighting comes from, you know? They just can't believe that I you know, I don't conform to their fucking the way they want me to, I guess. We could all use help. Exactly. And it's funny because the people telling me to get help have never even set foot I can't even talk. They've never even set foot in any type of, you know, clinical setting, like for mental health at all, ever. And they're telling me to get fucking help. Okay. I've been done, got help. Like, I've been done that already. But you know what I'm saying? Like, I've been there. I did my grief counseling for 6 months. You know, I talked to people. I confided in people. I was honest. They, you know, they think because I made these videos, I need help, you know, because this isn't the conventional way. It's a taboo thing to talk about your personal business online and to talk about your family secrets online. But you know what? No, not in today's world. I'm a kid born in the 80s. I grew up with, you know, the internet in my 20s, and this is what people do. You know, it was no different than if I wrote a book or sang a song about it, you know what I'm saying, and performed it at a fucking bar. I don't know. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's no different. Me talking about it here is no different than me talking about it anywhere else. You know, I have a right to share my story on here, whether they like it or not. And if it's helping other people, well, then why shouldn't I do it? You know what I'm saying? Like, if I could find a positive in the situation that I'm in, that's it, to help other people, you know? And I don't know, maybe they are jealous of that. I don't know. I don't know what it is. Or maybe they're just embarrassed of their own behavior. And you know what? That's not my problem. That's their problem. You know, I mean, to even accuse me of lying, they look stupid because I prove myself, I'm not just here talking shit. It's all there. It's all there. All the proof is there. Nobody has to question anything. So, if it's in my opinion, I let people know it's my opinion. If there's something I can't prove, I let you know. Well, this is what I think, but, whatever. But, that's their problem. It's not my problem. I don't owe these people fucking anything anymore. I don't owe them anything. Once you fuck with me in a way like they fucked with me, all my fucks go out the window. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't owe you anything anymore. I don't owe you respect anymore when you showed me none and you showed my mom none. I don't owe you any type of respect. You guys fucking don't even know what respect is. Don't even know what respect is. Don't understand. There's no understanding that respect is a two-way street. My family, especially my aunts, they think, well, we're the aunts and you're the younger one, so you have to respect us. But the respect on their behalf doesn't have to be reciprocated. Nope, not in my world. Not in my world. And I'm not saying I don't respect my elders. I do, but but for those who actually deserve to have the respect, they don't deserve it. They never did. There they go, assholes. Keep showing who you are. Who is in here? Do me a favor, guys. If you block them, there's somebody in here saying something, either screenshot it and send it to me or just don't block them. Time them out so I could get the link. Sorry, I haven't been paying too close attention to the chat because I'm just trying to get my thoughts out. Oh, Z Hounds is in here. Jeez. Like, why? Are you threatening my family? Wow. That once again, ZZ Hounds has no concept of, what's going on around her. Just totally oblivious. I've never threatened your family. I don't even know where you're getting that from, girl. So take that shit somewhere else, okay? Thanks. Bye. Thank you for who timed her out. I mean, you see these people that... This is what these people do. And they're probably people that are in the same category I would put my aunts and my brother and his wife. They're just people who don't care. They don't care about other people. They only care about themselves. And they make that clear. Their actions, their words, make it clear. Make it very clear. ZZ Hounds, get the fuck out of here, you worthless piece of shit. So I think that's all I wanted to say about that. Today for me is not a day that I celebrate. There's nothing to celebrate. This day is a day that is incredibly, incredibly sad for me. It's a day that changed my life completely. Like, literally turned my whole entire life upside down. It made me an orphan, this day. It made me a different person. I look back sometimes at old videos even, and I'm like, oh my God, who's that person who had all these... I remember I was thinking of this actually yesterday. When I first started my channel, I had all these ideas. I had like so many ideas in my head that I almost like overwhelmed myself, and I couldn't even make all the videos because like I had so many ideas in my head. And for like, I don't know, years, I couldn't do that. I couldn't even think. I couldn't even laugh. Like, I couldn't even have a good time. But that's all coming back now. I'm starting to feel like, okay, starting to get those ideas back, starting to get my motivation back to do things that I enjoy doing. So that's a good feeling. It's a really good feeling. Oh, thank you, Payday today. I hope people don't get mad at me, but this is different than Laura MMBS. Losing a mother is one of the hardest things ever. It does change your life. You feel lost in life. Sending a hug, MM. Thank you. I really appreciate that. Thank you. And same to you. I'll send a hug right back, girl. I really appreciate that. Please be respectful today and don't come in fighting. I mean, you could see I kind of titled this yesterday on purpose so people would kind of give you the heads up. Don't come in here with some stupid bullshit today. But some people can't respect that, and that's okay. It's okay. It says more about them than it does about me. You know, I would never do that to somebody. If somebody here ever was hurting or, you know, going through something and they were talking about it, I would never barge my ass into chat and make it about me ever. Thank you, Gina. I appreciate that. Really. Thank you so much. Love you too, girl. Gina's been a long time subscriber here as well. But this is a completely different subject. I miss my mom every day. P-Day, I do too. It's like nobody, you know, well, only people have been through it can really truly understand what it's like to just have your mom not around. You know, as old as you are, you're always your mom's kid, you know, that never changes. Walking back into her house, you know, I'm the kid again. You know, I can't do that anymore. And it's sad. I drove by our house recently and they changed up a few things, but for the most part, from what I could see, you know, from the street, it looks the same. The neighborhood's changed a little. You know, it's crazy. The whole block is, except for my one neighbor, Jeannie, everybody else is new people. Well, Kara too, but everybody else is all new people. You know, so it's just crazy. In fact, I gotta get together with Jeannie and whatchamacallit, Kara. I haven't seen them in a while. I don't like you, so I'm going to give you all the attention I have. Thanks, Laura. Thanks. They will never be little again. She's going to regret being petty as fuck. She doesn't have to talk to me or have anything to do with me, but she would just give a little bit of her time to my kids. Jonice, I totally understand that. You know, it's like weird. All right. My son was only 3 when all this shit happened. So, you know, he's not in a position where, like, even if he wanted to, he could have a relationship with my brother. If he was a little bit older, I would feel like I'd want them to have a relationship if they had one. I don't know if this makes sense to you guys, but like if he was older and more aware at the time when my mom passed away, I think I would like want him to try to have a relationship. But since he was 3 and he hardly even knew my brother at that point anyway, I felt like it was best to just completely, like, I don't know, keep him out of our lives. You know, my son has been completely ignored by my mom's family, like everybody. They haven't even, and this just goes to show what type of people they are. And I'm not saying I don't want anything from them. I don't. But like, it does hurt me for my son, not for myself, but it hurts me for my son. That they haven't even so much as sent a birthday card, a Christmas gift, nothing for 4 years now. He's been completely just written off and forgotten about, you know? And for a long time, I hid him because I guess it was like a mommy protective thing. You know, I didn't even want them to see him. I didn't want them to know anything about him because why should you have, you know, access to my kid when you don't even talk to me? You know, I don't want you in my kid's life if you're not going to be a steady person in his life. You know what I'm saying? So I'm glad that they don't send anything at the same time, but it is fucked up. And the reason why it's fucked up is because I know my mom would never fucking do that to them. Never in a million years. You know, my mom would be the first one calling whatever kid, if whoever it was in my family, if they lost one of their parents, let alone both of their parents. Okay. I don't have either of my parents. You got to keep that in mind. My mom would be the first one to reach out to whatever cousin it was, whatever person it was, to see, you know, hey, do you want to come over for Thanksgiving? You know, or to send a birthday card or anything like that. My mom would be the first fucking one there. I know that I could say that with 100,000% confidence. No matter what was happening, my mom would have. But these people don't share that. Maybe that, you know, maybe that's why my mom was the black sheep. She always told me that she was the black sheep, you know, and then maybe that's why I'm the black sheep too. I don't know. We're just different, you know. My mom actually has had a huge heart, huge. And I know she would have been the first one to put herself out there and try to reach a helping hand out. And these people just should be ashamed of themselves, honestly. They really should. It's really gross, but it's too late now. It's too late to apologize. You know what I'm saying? It's too late. My son's already gone 4 years. Out of sight, out of mind. He don't even remember any of my aunts or cousins really, except of course my cousin Ego. The first one always with the phone calls for your birthdays and cards in the mail for whatever you accomplished. See? Little just because gifts. Yep. Yeah. If my mom was like out and she saw, something that reminded her of you, she would just buy it. And like the next time she'd see you, she'd be like, oh my God, I don't know, something reminded me of you and I had to get it, or she would hold on to it for your next birthday or some shit. Like she was so thoughtful and caring. And, it's a shame that her family's not like that, but hey, it's not really my loss. It's their loss. They're the ones losing out. Now I have no problem fucking throwing my son out there and bragging about him because I'm like, you guys are missing out. When he becomes like the next Wayne Gretzky, you motherfuckers better not even try crawling out the woodworks, okay? Because we're not going to know who the fuck you are. So, they're missing out. They're fucking missing out. Why the fuck do this to him? I seen my sister at my auntie's funeral last month. I've not seen her in 3 years. I went up and told her, I'm giving you a hug if you want one or not. She gave, what happened? Jonice, you leave us in suspense. My son doesn't really have a relationship with anyone in my family. Isn't that weird, Alicia? And it does make me sick. It's like my cousin Nico, she's in here. She could tell you, we had the best times as kids, like the cousins hanging out, playing together. Like we had the best times. And I still cherish that shit. I still love my cousins. I love all my cousins, but I just certain ones I had to pull away from because their parents. I don't feel like it's fair to them. Because I don't want anything to do with their parents. Like, how am I going to talk to you when I don't want to talk to your parents? So a lot of collateral damage, I guess, is there. But, I love my cousins and I'll always cherish the time that we had. It's just that people change, when they become adults and other factors come into their lives, whether it's a person or drugs or alcohol or, you know what I'm saying? Like, and things just change and it's just life. People grow apart. I'll always, I feel bad that my son doesn't have that with his cousins, but it is what it is. We created another. He's got his hockey family. Really, that's his family. Like his hockey friends. Those are, the people he spends the most time with outside of, his friends in school and stuff. So it's kind of nice. It's kind of like we have a little, hockey family now. So, no matter what you lose, something always comes in life to kind of replace it. Oh, thank you, Shannon Dawn. Hey girl, how's your palate doing? Can't imagine losing parents, let alone both. Losing a parent, let alone both. No matter how old we are, they are our backbones. My mom is my go-to person. I'm sure what your family has done does hurt. You were very strong, Mom. Thank you, girlfriend. I really appreciate that. Thank you. Losing mom is so hard. No one completely understands. Yeah, it's the truth, P-Day. Like my dad's death was hard, but it's just different. It's just different, especially when you're a girl and it's your mom. I mean, but it also depends on I know a lot of girls that are closer with their dads, and their mom and them don't have the best relationship. But my family, my personal life, my relationship with my mom was so much closer than it was with my dad, and it's just so different. It's so different. The connection we had, I just miss it. I miss it so much. I get, where was I the other day? I was somewhere in the store shopping. Oh, I was at Macy's And this mom who was probably in her, I don't know, I want to say maybe 70s or maybe even, mid to late 70s, and the daughter, but she was in great shape, the mom. And the daughter, they were in Macy's, and the mom was buying the daughter a shirt. I thought it was kind of funny because the daughter was older than me. I mean, she was probably in her late 40s, early 50s. And, just kind of, they were kind of laughing and talking, and like I'm standing behind them online and I'm watching them, and I was like, man, I miss these. Like, I miss that so much. I miss going shopping with my mom, and we used to have like the best times, just her and I hanging out. Like she was like more like a friend, when you reach that age in your life where your parents become people, like not parents anymore, they become like actual people, and you could actually have a friendship with them. My mom and I just became best friends, and it was like fun. I always had fun with her. We laughed, we cried, and I really like, one of the things we did was shopping. That was like, we always used to go out shopping together all the time. So just seeing that in the store the other day just kind of reminded me, of how much I miss it, how much I miss having her there to go shopping with, a shopping companion. You just say MM is awesome. You left a wonderful legacy, and you can deck those halls. Yep. Yeah. So it's just different. I didn't have that like connection with my dad. Like we didn't really go out and do things together like that. But my mom, I did, and it's it was a big, big, big adjustment to try to get used to like this new, everything was so new that first year, the second year too. It was just like going through all those things for the first time without her. It was so hard, but unfortunately you get used to it. It sucks. I don't want to be used to it, but I kind of have no choice at this point. It is what it is. So later today, we'll probably go and we'll light a candle. I'm a big believer in keeping people's memories alive. Some people do it like the first year or the second year, and then they kind of fall off after time goes by. Oh, thank you, Math Kitty. Lost my mom this past February and my dad 2.5 years ago. My life is just not the same. I'm sorry, girl. And thank you. And I know, I feel your pain, girl. Big time. Big, big time. I cry when I see yards. Oh, P-Day. My mom used to love yard sales too. Love them. She sold stuff on eBay. She would go to yard sales and sell, I went to my first estate sale with my mom. Of course, she forced me. She's like, we got to get there early. I'm like, all right, Mom, I hate the morning. But, I did anything with her to make her happy because, she had gone through a lot. My mom stresses me out. Love her to death, but she stresses me. But that's our jobs. We're moms. We're supposed to stress our kids out. My mom stressed me out sometimes too. Don't get me wrong. She stressed me out. It wasn't always peaches and rainbows. Sometimes I'd be like, oh my God, Mom, you're so fucking annoying, But we were able to talk to each other like that. I'd be like, you're acting like a bitch, and she'd tell me the same. And then like 5 minutes later, I'd be like, all right, what do you want to get for dinner? Like, that's the kind of relationship we had. Something good in this world. I feel I am now exactly where I'm meant to be. I love you, MM, so much. Hey, Jonice, girl, I'm with you. I feel the same way. I'm where I'm supposed to be in this world. Everything does happen for a reason. Sometimes it takes a little longer to figure it out what the reason is, but it does. I really believe that. I really do believe that. And it just keeps me going to think that one day I'll see her again. I walked away from my 7 siblings and let them fight for my mom's estate. I got her Chihuahua. Beefers, did your mom not have a will? I know you told me this before, but like why are you talking about the actual like items and stuff in the house or like the material possessions? Or are you talking about like with money and everything? Did she have a will? That is the one part that I really wanted to share with people because dude, when I was going through the whole, like, that whole part of everything, the estate, nobody talks about this shit. Nobody talks about it, you know, because it's personal and it's like that time that you're going through, you're not in, you know, thinking about talking about it, but it's very confusing and it's very, like, I don't know. It's not what people think it is. It doesn't go the way you think it is, you know, the way you hear it goes in the movies and shit when you're settling an estate. So there was nothing online, you know, like certain questions I had. I couldn't find anything online for my, you know, questions that I had. Nobody talks about these things. And I know why it's taboo to talk about, but they need to be talked about because unfortunately, pretty much everybody's going to go through this shit at some point in their lives. We're all going to deal with loss, you know, whether it's like your husband or your parents or, you know, God forbid, your kid. It's part of life. Why are we not fucking talking about this shit? I don't understand. What it was like for me to be power of attorney. It's not like I wanted the responsibility, but I agreed to do it for her, and she knew I would do whatever she wanted. It was very hard and painful responsibility. Yeah, Jonice, it is hard. Anytime you're put in a position like that, like when my brother was fighting me over being my mom's healthcare proxy, which I totally didn't understand. Like, I was like, why do you need to have this title? Like, why would you want to be in that position? You know, like, I don't know. My brother always like, my brother's not the decision maker. He's just not. My brother's like one of those people that like, he can't really make decisions on his own. He always needs somebody to help him. You know, like when he was single, it was me or my mom. You know, if I wasn't around, he'd call my mom. But he always called me for advice. Even though I'm the younger sister, he called me for advice all the time about a variety of different things. You know, he would always ask for my advice, which told me that he respected me, you know, at one point in time, because you don't call somebody and ask for advice if you don't respect their opinions. So, yeah, he asked me for a lot of advice. The fact that he was fighting for that, I knew it wasn't him. My brother does not like to be in a position of power where he's a main decision maker. And I was like, why would you want that decision, dude? Why? You know, being POA or acting head of a state is difficult. Wouldn't wish it on anyone. So this is like one of the things, okay? Difference between an executor and a power of attorney. Power of attorney ends at death. So like my brother, fucking idiot that he is, signed power of attorney over to his wife. Now most people's power of attorney is written in such a way that it's only active if you're incapacitated and cannot handle your own thing. Like Jonice is saying, her mom was wheelchair bound. Okay. She had MS. So she probably couldn't get to the bank or, you know, do those types of things. So she would need, in that case, a power of attorney because she's incapacitated and can't do it for herself. You know, my brother signed power of attorney over to his wife in the hospital the 2 days before my mom died. They had it notarized and signed in the hospital. They filled out this form. It's a standard form. So she could handle my mom's estate, which it doesn't work like that. But anyway, power of attorney really, there's two different kinds. Some states call healthcare power of attorney, and that's somebody who can make decisions for you, you know, with your healthcare. Or, you know, whatever you need to do regarding your healthcare. Power of attorney in general is just somebody who's able to really take care of your finances and stuff. You're basically handing over. So they have free reign to your bank accounts, and shit like that, you know, money market, whatever. That's what power of attorney is. That ends when you die. So you could just throw that out the window because there's no more power of attorney once you pass away. That's when it becomes an executor. You know, if you are an executor, if the person wants you to be their executor of their estate, that's when that turns over. And, you know, you're not just automatically the executor. That's another thing people don't understand. When you become an executor on a will, you still have to at least in New York State. I don't want to speak for every other state. I'm pretty sure it works, similarly everywhere else, but just want to make that clear. Here, the beneficiaries have a right to object to who's the written executor in a will. So you have to file the will with the probate court. Once that happens, then you get appointed as executor if nobody decides to fight it. I contested my mom's will because my two aunts who were not speaking with me, who refused to, answer emails or text messages, they had me blocked. My two aunts that were using the same attorney as my brother and did not inform me, which they legally should have. I had to contest it, not that I thought they were going to do anything super shady, but that was the best thing I ever did, to be honest with you. The best decision I ever made. Now, they didn't fight it. They ended up resigning. And so obviously now somebody has to be appointed, but it was part of our agreement that my brother and I would take over. So it was fair, because we are both the beneficiaries and then we're both the executors. There was no way I was going to, that was the only way I would have any say in what happens to my mom's house, her stuff, and anything like that, any financial decisions that are made. But my aunts legally were not allowed to do anything until they were officially appointed. They never were. People think just because somebody's name is on a will, that means they're the executor. Nope, don't work like that. Mika Mom said, did your mom have MS? P-Day, no, that's my mom died from kidney cancer. Well, complications, I guess, from her cancer. That's Jonice's mom. I still owe money on her funeral, for fuck's sake. Oh my God, Jonice, really? Wow. I had to cremate her because kids cannot afford to bury her. Aw, Jonice, I'm so sorry. That's really hard. My mom was cremated too. I always thought she wanted to be buried, but she had ended up changing her mind. Weirdly enough, I don't know. She might have told me. I forgot. I didn't. My brother and my aunt said it, and I was a little shocked. But then my mom's cousin, who I still talk to, she told me that my mom had told her, and once she verified it, I was like, all right, if that's what she wants. Once we found out I was pregnant with our first child, we took care of her as long as I could at home, but I was not a professional. And she was all, aw, Jonice, that's so hard. So hard. Those types of diseases like that, where they're, very slow moving, those are hard, like Alzheimer's or any of those types of diseases where it's like, they kind of get worse and worse over a very long period of time. I can't even imagine, if there's one thing I could say is that my mom didn't, although she suffered tremendously and with pain and all sorts of shit, she didn't have to suffer for that long. And I'm kind of thankful for that, because, somebody with MS, they suffer for years and years and years. It's a very slow, moving disease. So I can only imagine what that must have been like, and what a burden it puts on the family. And I don't mean a burden in the sense where, it's like, oh, I mean a burden where it's like, you have to take care of the person, whether you like it or not. Somebody has to help them live. They can't do it on their own if they're in a wheelchair or, whatever. So I can't imagine that, because I mean, I only went through it for, months, really, a year at the most. And it was taxing on everything. It was very mentally taxing, physically taxing. So I can only imagine what it's like to have to care for a parent like that for, 10 years. I'm making an appointment with Jack next Monday at the military base. Need to update mine. How are you, Judith? Are you okay? So 255 is all regardless of income. What's that, Mandy? My grandpa was cremated. Both of my parents were actually cremated. My dad first. My dad told me to flush his ashes down the toilet. I swear to God. He told me that when I was a kid. I was like, not a kid, like, before he died, like I was probably in my teens. And he's like, I'm like, Dad, what would you want us to do with your ashes? And he's like, fucking flush them down the toilet. The fuck do I care? Like, Dad, that's fucking horrible, man. But he said, I didn't do that. But he's my dad was like, dude, if he could crawl up into a bowl and be invisible, he would have. Like, he did not like having attention on him. He was, total. I mean, I guess I'm like him a little bit in that sense. I don't like being the center of attention, especially like, I don't know, in like a room full of people. Like, I don't know. I don't like to be the center of attention. I try to be quiet somewhat, but I am loud at the same time. I don't know. Take them to see others who were in the nursing home. Jonice, how long has it been? Hey, you mad, bro? Just say, same. Oh my fucking God. If you need me to get a hold of me. You mad, bro? I want to be cremated. I don't know what I want, Alicia. I try not to think about death too much, I don't want to waste my time thinking about that shit. I just want to enjoy every day. If there's anything I learned from my parents, both of their deaths, because they both died in their early 60s, which is like horrible. It's that, life is short. Like, our time here is so limited. Like, think about it. If I'm turning 40 this year, well, next year in March, early in March. Like, that would mean, my parents' kids have 20 years left of life. Well, I'm going to make the most of that. I'm not going to sit around dwelling on things and being miserable, feeling sorry for myself because I lost both my parents, and it's so hard, and it is hard, but I'm not the only person that's been through this. And, like I said, I'll see them again one day. I need to not sit around and waste time, because time is so limited, man. It's so fucking limited, so short. I mean, I just look at how fast this 4 years went through. You man, bro, there is a lot going on. I couldn't even catch you up in one live. It's a sable. But I don't know. Life really is too short. Like, it is. And you get caught up sometimes, myself included. I get caught up in things sometimes that are probably, chaotic. Like, I think there's a lot of people, even on here, that are addicted to chaos. They don't know. Life feels weird when there's nothing crazy going on. And I think, that happened to me a little bit too, because think about it, for pretty much since 2013, when my brother met his wife, everything was chaos constantly with her. So from that point on, I was living in a pretty much constant state of chaos. Not always chaos, not always fighting, but something, something was going on, whether it was my mom was upset or she was mad at him, or, and then it was like, then my mom got sick, and then it was, our whole lives were changed. So I would say I'd say more from 2014 and on. I lived in a pretty much constant state of chaos for like a good 5 years. And you become accustomed to that. Like, you do. As weird as it sounds, you do become accustomed to it. It's hard. It's hard to deal with, but sometimes people don't know how to deal with things when it's calm and it's, there's nothing going on. They feel uneasy about things. I think there's a lot of people on here specifically that are addicted to chaos, because it gives them life. As weird as that sounds, it gives them something to do and talk about. It gives them a purpose. And I saw myself even on here just getting caught back up into that like chaos situation. And I don't want to be in that anymore, man. I lived my 4 fucking years of my life in chaos. I'm done with it, man. I'm done with it. I'm okay with shit being calm and cool and whatever it is. I don't care. I need calmness. I need peace around me. I have a friend who's the queen of chaos. B-Fergs, I had a friend. I can't be around I can't be around that anymore. It's unhealthy for me. The minute I start feeling myself getting back into that anger, I don't know. I have to step back and say, Leanna, you worked so goddamn hard on yourself to get out of a toxic situation like that. Why are you putting yourself back in a different one? You know what I'm saying? I got to get myself out of it. Have a beautiful day, y'all. Bye, Jonice. Jonice, you have my email, girlfriend, or if you're in Laura's Discord, you could always message me on there if you're in there. And that goes for anybody in here. Try growing up in a loud Puerto Rican family. Oh, girl, I know. It's Italian, Puerto Rican. We got a lot of the same things going on. Puerto Rican's loud, Italian's loud. I get it. And my aunt was Puerto Rican. I totally, trust me, I totally get picking up what you're putting down. No fucks given. Totally picking it up. Puerto Ricans are crazy, just like Italians. You never know how a story can help someone else who can relate. No, I didn't know when I first started telling it. I was a little nervous and scared. But the more and more emails I got from people telling me that I was helping them, like it gave me motivation to keep going. Because again, when you're going through this, it's like when you lose somebody, a parent, whatever, a child, doesn't matter. You tend to feel very isolated. So if I can help people not feel like that and not feel alone, like that right there is helping. Oh, is that the ferret? So I gotta tell you guys something. It's a little off topic. Nope, that's a red cardinal. Me and Jesse always say that's my mom. Hey, red cardinal. I haven't seen one in a long time too. They're so pretty, but aren't the red ones the males? Maybe it's my dad. Last night I got up. It was about 3 a.m. I go outside. I smoke a cigarette on my front porch, and I had my little blanket with me, right? And I was tired. I was sleeping, so I'm like still kind of like tired. ZZ Hounds, what the fuck, dude? For real, get over yourself. Simple question, yes or no, it ends here. No! Whatever your answer is, no. I'm not fucking with your family. I don't know where you're even getting that shit from, ZZ Hounds, but no. Okay? I think I answered it already, but I'll answer it again. No. So you got timed out, but the answer is no. If you could come back in 300 seconds and act like a fucking human being, fine. All right. So anyway, I go outside. I'm still like really tired. So I'm kind of like half asleep still. I have my phone in my hand. I'm smoking my cigarette. I'm kind of like getting like, I'm drowsy. All of a sudden I close my eyes for a second and I feel this fucking something crawling on my lap. I open my eyes up and it's a fucking animal. There's a little animal on, like trying to jump up on me. It was like, it had its paws up and I'm screaming now at this point. I'm like, what the fuck? Oh my God. Like at 3 o'clock in the morning, I'm on my front porch screaming. I'm like, oh my God, what the fuck? I'm like, what the fuck is that thing? And I jump up on my chair and I have like all my feet and like, because I jumped back, the cushion of the chair kind of slid a little forward. And so the little animal was hiding underneath that, the little overhang of the cushion. I'm got my nails done now before we go in total lockdown again, but you are strong. Love your son. That's the most you can do. Thank you so much, PJ. Thank you, girl. I appreciate that. Hugs to you. And thanks for hanging. Seriously. Thank you. So anyway, I'm like freaking out. I'm like, oh my God. And I'm afraid to look under because honestly, the face of this thing looked like a raccoon. That was my first, like a baby raccoon. And I'm like, oh my God. So I'm afraid now to look under the cushion to see what it was. And I'm like, oh, I'm like having a heart attack. And by this time, I woke my husband up. So he comes down and he's like, what the fuck? What's going on? And I'm like, dude, there's a fucking animal right here. And he's like, he just goes back to bed. He didn't even care. I was like, he probably didn't want to come outside. It was freezing outside, and he's in bed, so didn't have clothes on to come walking outside. So all of a sudden, the thing like darts across, and I'm like, what the fuck is that thing? Like, I've never seen an animal like this before. I had no idea what it was. I'm like half asleep still, and I finally figure out it's a ferret. I was like, what the fuck is a ferret doing here? Why is there a ferret on my front porch right now? This is so weird. So I take a picture of it. I take a couple of pictures of it. And I'm like sitting here going, is it a ferret? Like, I haven't seen a ferret in a really long time. And the ones I've seen, I don't know, this one kind of looked like a wild animal for some reason. Like, it looked like the color. So I'm looking up ferret on my phone. And then it's like saying that they're related to weasels. So I'm like, is it a weasel? I've never seen a weasel in my life, but, or is it what was the other things that they said it could have been? Fuck, I forget the name. Some kind of something cat. I don't know. So I'm trying to figure out, like, is this a wild animal or is this somebody's pet? I don't know. I don't know all the animals that run around on Long Island. So sure enough, I'm trying to figure this all out. And the thing was not scared of me, which was really making me think it was somebody's pet. Cause I'm like, it's a wild animal. They usually don't come up to people if they're not domesticated, So I don't know. I'm trying to think of, like, what do I do? I don't have anywhere to put this thing. Like, what do I do in this situation? And before I know it, the thing jumps off my porch and it's gone. So I posted a picture last night on Facebook, 3:00 in the morning. I actually have there's a group, people have them. I'm sure everybody here has one for your town, whatever town you live in. People have like groups for your town, so you could talk about things that are going on in your community. So I posted in there, and all of a sudden, this morning I wake up and I go check the post because I'm like thinking about this poor thing, this poor animal, and I feel bad that I didn't grab it. Sure enough, it was somebody 2 blocks over had posted on another Long Island, lost pet site or some shit like that. I don't know what it was. And they had lost their ferret. And I was like, oh my God. And they put a picture, and sure enough, it's the same one. I'll show you guys. Hold on a second. Where's my phone? He was so cute. So now, this morning, I got in contact with the girl. I feel so bad. I feel terrible. I feel absolutely terrible because I just let this thing go. I could have grabbed it, but I let it go, not knowing what to do last night, and it jumped, and I didn't know if it was wild. I didn't know if it was a pet. Like, it was 3:00 in the morning, dude. My decision-making skills weren't really at their best. So, I feel terrible. So I went out this morning. I got in touch with the people, and I told them I'm going to keep an eye out, obviously. And I bought some cat food because I heard that they like cat food. So I'm hoping, this thing made it. It was freezing last night, freezing. And that's probably why it was coming to jump on me, because I was warm. Oh, thank you, Daily Poppins. Thinking and praying for you and your son and hubby one day buy one of your mom's favorite plants. Oh, Daily Poppins, I seriously appreciate that. Thank you. That was so thoughtful. Thank you. So, so I feel terrible. I feel so bad. So this morning, the owners came walking by my house, and they actually had 2 of them. They had a white one and this other one. And they've been all day, this whole time I'm on the phone, on here. They're walking by, in fact, right now. They've been walking by back and forth. I feel terrible. I mean, I left some cat food outside just so, like, hey, if the thing's going to be outside, maybe it'll eat, at least. The least I could do is feed it. So, they're out there right now. I feel so bad. I just feel so bad. I wish I grabbed it, I don't know if it was better that I didn't say anything to these people. I don't know. I don't know if I did the right thing by letting them know that I saw it. But, because I mean, they live a block over. So the thing had to travel pretty far. And the thing I'm concerned about is, I have Snoop, and we have the vicious pit bulls that live around the corner. And then my neighbor, like, we all have dogs, but there's a lot of pit bulls, and I just hope Snoop has killed small animals before. Unfortunately, he's a murderer. So I'm a little afraid of letting him out, today, because God forbid, I know it wasn't my fault. Oh, where's my phone? I'll show you guys a picture. He was I didn't get a good picture of his face, unfortunately, but it was so friendly and it was so cute. He was so cute. My neighbor used to have a ferret when I was a kid, but it didn't look like that one. I can't explain it. He kind of looked almost like a raccoon. That's why his face, was the first thing that I saw. So I didn't see his body. And I see these little tiny paws. And I'm thinking, oh my God, there's a baby raccoon trying to crawl on me right now. Like, this is fucking insane. Hold on a second. I just feel bad for the owners. They've been walking around all day looking for this poor thing. And I just hope they find him. Let me, hold on. Aw, he's cute. He's so cute. I'm thinking too, my husband's going to freaking kill me if I bring this thing in my house. Cause he's like, he's not, I've brought in animals before. He's going to kill me. I brought a bird in once. There was a cat one time that had a can stuck on its head. So we saved that. Like, I love animals. So, I was a little nervous, but if I see him tonight, I'm definitely grabbing him. I don't know. They said that they're nocturnal. So, he might come back tonight. I don't know. I know there's people around here that look, hold on. Oh, the poor little baby. Isn't he cute? Let me get hold on. Their beady eyes. Oh my God, no. No, he actually was cute. Oh, I feel so bad that I didn't pick it up. Ferrets are great survivors. I hope so. You hear whistling? It's probably my nose. Do they make noises? I've always wondered. Here we go. As soon as I share a picture or do anything, my freaking stupid computer starts muting me. But yeah, that's him. That's the little guy right there. Only me, right? Yeah. They chitter. They make like a like that. No sound. Oh, all right. Oh my God, what a freak. Some strange animal crawled on me. Oh, I did, girl. Oh, I did. I was screaming. I mean, I woke my husband up. I was like, oh my God, what the fuck is that? I'm like screaming. And the thing didn't even get scared. Like, I didn't even scare it away by screaming. It was funny. What's that? Oh, I thought I just saw it. Now, every time I see a squirrel or anything in my backyard, I'm like freaking out. I really hope they find it. I mean, I just feel terrible that I didn't pick it up last night. I really do. And then I'm like sitting there thinking, this is a message from my mom. I don't know what the fuck. Oh, shit. I remember yeah, he looked very comfortable. I'm hoping he'll come back tonight, Beefers. Maybe he fell asleep. I have a white one that looks just like that one. Crazy Mama of 3, they had a white one too. My neighbor had one, and I remember the thing used to smell really bad. And that was like last night. I was like, he doesn't smell like a ferret, I'm thinking in my head, but I don't know. I just hope he comes back. I left the cat food out. I hope he comes back. Please. I feel so bad for these people. The girl said she left. They had the window literally just cracked open like an inch or two, and he got out. So I would have died. I listen, if I wasn't like dozing off, I probably would have freaked out, but the thing, like, it crawled on me and it didn't even, like, when I was screaming, it was still trying to get up on my lap. I couldn't believe it. So, day in my life. Day in my life. White one is a pain to keep clean. They like to roll in their own pee. Yeah, that's what my neighbors, that's what I remember it smelling like. I remember it smelled like pee all the time. It was gross. I used to be like, I don't want to pet that thing. I just don't like their, like, I don't like picking them up because they have no, like, they feel like there's no spine, right? They don't have like a spine, so they're like all slinky feeling, like a snake. I don't know. Kind of like a cat, but if you get a visit of a cardinal. Judith, I just saw one. No kidding. Just about 2 minutes ago. That's crazy. He said that. I wonder if he's in my backyard, this thing. But I feel like Snoop would find him, right away. Snoop would smell him. Snoop's, he protects the yard. I'm just praying he didn't get into any of my neighbors' backyards with the pit bulls, because you would think they're smart enough to avoid that, but you don't know. The thing might, I think it lives with a dog. It might be like friendly and go up to the dog. I don't know. I'm so worried for this poor thing. I just wish I picked it up last night. I feel horrible. So gross to have to bathe him so much. My girl is so fat and cuddly. Only you would have a ferret jump at you in the middle of the night. Yeah, seriously, Pug Washington. Seriously. Only me would be outside. My neighbors call me the neighborhood watch because I'm always outside. I'm always outside on my porch, They're like, we don't have to worry about anything. Leanna's always outside. I am. I don't know. I sit out there even when it's freezing. I don't care. I like to be outside. I smoke, and I don't know. I kind of like, I don't know. I like the cold air. It feels good. I hate sitting inside with the fucking heat on and everything's dry and ugh. I don't know. We have lots of coyotes here. They come all the way up to our house. It's scary at times. We don't have any of those here. Long Island's pretty boring when it comes to animals. We don't have anything like, I don't know if there's bears. I don't think so. I mean, I know in Jersey and like upstate they have bears, but I've never heard of a bear sighting on Long Island. I mean, how would they, if they weren't here already? And I'm talking like back in the fucking early 1900s or late 1800s, and they're probably not going to be here. I mean, because there's no, they need to cross a bridge to get here. So how would they get here? From other places, and then they'd have to go through the entire city to find the suburbs. Fucking like Muppets Great Adventure or some shit, just would never happen. So we're pretty limited here. We got deer, like boring animals, chipmunks, squirrels. I've never seen even like a mole or a gopher or anything like that, or a skunk or coyotes, or I think there's foxes. I think we have little red foxes, but nothing exciting. Nothing exciting. Oh, the other thing that scares me is we have an owl that lives around here, and I hope he doesn't attack the poor little ferret at night. We have coyotes and bears or once in a while. I want to know if there are any bears. Hold on, let me see if there's any bears on Long Island. I don't even know. I mean, maybe, but I doubt it. Bears on Long Island. Is there black bears? I've never fucking heard of a bear. Oh shit, look at that. Long Island black bears. Get the fuck out of here. Where? Dude, these things are not on Long Island. There's no way. Yes, this is on Long Island. Shh, don't tell anyone. Really? Wow. I'm shocked. Shocked. No, maybe just this one. Oh man, this is terrible. There's little pictures of people fucking shooting them. No, thank you. What? The Empire State needs your help to obtain accurate bear numbers. Please keep track of your sightings here on Long Island this season and report them on their website. I don't know. That's weird. That's really weird. We have Scottish wildcats here, but not in the city, in the Highlands. Sometimes I can hear coyotes howling at night. I hear raccoons. That's all I ever hear. Chittering. They make this weird noise at night. And I hear fox every once in a while. I haven't heard the fox in a really long time. There used to be a fox around here, but I haven't heard it in a really long time. Hey, butterfly kisses. So, but poor little guy. I hope they find him. I'll keep you guys updated, if we find him. No, Laura, I don't know. This website says there's bears. If there's bears here, it's because somebody must have taken one when it was a baby and let it on the loose. I don't know. I cannot picture a fucking bear running around Long Island, but hey, people say so. Maybe in the Pine Barrens. It's the only place I could maybe think a bear would survive here. Too much traffic, too much noise. I just can't picture it. We've got turkeys, bears, moose. Yeah, no, we don't have no wild turkeys running around here. That doesn't happen. I mean, there are turkeys on Long Island, but people have them like on, like a farm or some shit. Not just running around wildly. No, you would never see that. I mean, at least I've never seen a wild turkey. Have you ever heard raccoons screeching? Yes, burn hot dog. I hear it all the time. There's tons of raccoons around here. Tons. I hear them. That's what it sounds like. Very similar to cats, but a little bit more screechy. Bears and cats will travel 3,000 or more miles to breed. Holy shit. You have the Loch Ness Monster? I would love to see a bear. Bears are so cute. I mean, not up close. They could stay the fuck away, but you have to keep the king snakes. Oh, dude. We have the only snakes we have they're called garden snakes. I mean, they're so small and harmless, and I haven't seen one since I was a kid. I don't even know if they're still around, but my mom where I grew up right pretty much down the block from a wildlife preserve. Not a wildlife preserve, like a nature preserve. There's quite a few like state parks and shit on Long Island where there's woods and trails and you could go hiking and shit. They're not that big, but I grew up right next to one of the state parks, and you'd see a little bit more wildlife near my mom's house than I do here. But I never even my whole life I grew up and never saw a deer, which is kind of crazy because I grew up so close there. I never saw a deer like outside of being in the woods. Like they never on my lawn. They never traveled up that far to the houses. My friends, I would see them at my friends' houses in their backyards, the ones that lived very close to the woods, but not me. Or the park, rather. Life rules anywhere that food is available. Yeah, we only have stuffed bears. I don't believe that there's bears. I don't know. That's like crazy to even think. I would love a coyote. I would love to see a coyote. I would just want to see the fox. Every one of my neighbors have seen this fox, except me. I haven't seen him. My husband saw him. My two neighbors across the street have seen him. I never saw the damn thing. I bet you my friggin' neighbor's pickles killed the damn thing. Why is my freezer not staying closed? Oh, so annoying. I have the smallest fridge on the fucking planet. And my fridge is it's called Counter Depth, and they're actually more expensive for some reason. They're shorter. So from front to back, from side to side, it's basically the size of a regular refrigerator. But what do you call it? From front to back, it's half the size. So look at this. Bears on Long Island. I could have sworn I saw one on the east, on the side of the LIE between exits 71 and 72. Has anyone else seen it? Are there even bears on Long Island? I'm terrified to drive out there. Why? If you're in the car, why would you be scared? Nah, never. I am old and drive often. Remember, Halloween is around the corner. It might have been someone in costume. I am hoping it was either that or a really fat furry deer. See, all right. So why is there a fucking bear hunting page? There's no way that there's fucking bears. No way. No. That there can't. Nope. Nope. Don't believe it. I don't like zoos in places like SeaWorld. Daily Poppins, I'm with you, girl. I went to I brought Jesse to the aquarium over the summer. Oh my god, I feel so bad. These people are still looking. I mean, I hate to say this, but I don't think it's in my yard anymore. They need to like really expand their search area. What do you call it? What did I say? I brought Jesse to the aquarium and over the summer, and it was actually like a few days before, you know, the whole big fight between Laura and whatever. And I go out there and they have two Japanese snow monkeys, which are basically macaques, and they're older now. I remember when they first got them, when they first opened, they were babies, but now they're older, and they look so miserable, man. I mean, they're in a pretty decent sized enclosure, but you know, they're monkeys, man. Monkeys travel a lot and have, you know, and they move a lot, and you could just tell they're so depressed. It's so sad. I just want to free the monkeys. I felt so bad for them. I don't care for places like that either. I just don't. I mean, I went there, but I don't know. I always feel bad for the animals. They look depressed. Like, no animals should be stuck in a fucking cage like that or a small area. It does make me sad. The Bronx Zoo ain't so bad because at least they have the, you know, whatever animals they have, they're in a huge area, you know. I don't know. It's just sad. These people back over here, they're still over here. I feel so bad. They gotta look at my neighbors' houses too. Like, this thing could be anywhere, you know. That was at 3:00 in the morning. He's probably sleeping somewhere, I would imagine. You know, I just feel bad. I'm like, how is this thing gonna find food? This poor little ferret. That's why I left some food out, and I know I'm going to attract the neighborhood cats. My husband's going to kill me. He hates like cats. He doesn't like cats. Like, he doesn't want them, like, you know, it doesn't matter. They're here anyway. We have tons of feral cats around here. So, but my husband would kill me if he knows I'm feeding him. So, and he's not going to seriously kill me. It's a figure of speech. I live in Long Island. Never saw a bear here. Definitely wild turkeys. Where have you seen wild turkeys, girl? I've never seen a wild turkey ever. I've seen them like the Holtzville Ecology site. I've seen turkeys. Or there's actually this plant place that has a little petting zoo, and there's a turkey there. But I've never actually seen a wild one ever. And they wonder when they attack their trainers and keepers. Yeah, exactly. That I'll never fucking go to SeaWorld again. Because of New York law, they get a little enrichment. Monkeys are social animals, but New York deep and dangerous. Well, yeah, that's because of that woman that was attacked, Charlotte Nash. That was attacked by the chimpanzee. I actually watched something on that recently, and man, I forgot the monkey was on like Xanax or some shit. I don't know. They were giving the monkey some type of medication. Oh, last night, what did I watch last night? I was watching something that was actually, I'm trying to think. There was two different things I watched. I was watching these interrogations and shit, and these crazy court videos. That's what it was, where this dad jumped over the table during court while he was giving his victim impact statement. He turns around, looks at the guy that killed his daughter, and literally fucking jumps over the table to go at the guy, but they broke it up. I was like, oh my God, man, that's fucking crazy. I was watching like videos like that last night before he fell asleep. And I guess Laura must have went live because I missed that. I must have fell asleep. I went to Florida and avoided SeaWorld and Animal Kingdom. I saw a deer and wild turkey running down Portion Road. Get out of here. I saw more wild turkeys in some ballpark in Holbrook. Shit, girl. I've never seen a wild turkey ever. That's crazy. That's so funny. Holbrook makes sense because the ecology site's near there. Maybe they're escaped turkeys. I don't know. Yeah, he was on antidepressants after her husband died. The monkey was sad. Yep. Yeah, that's what I was like. Damn, that's crazy. Poor monkey. He shouldn't. I don't know. I'm a little. I watch a lot of monkey videos. I'm a little weird about, I don't know, keeping them as pets. I just don't. I don't know. I don't see the need. I know they're cute when they're babies, but there's this whole big thing going on YouTube right now because all these people in Cambodia and in all these, countries, which are unfortunately like third world countries, right? And that, that they're pretty desperate for money. What they're doing is they're poaching these animals, these monkeys, right? They take them and they caught on to the fact that us Americans and people in more, civilized countries and shit, that we're like a little, we like to see these animals, right? We don't get to see monkeys and shit. We like to watch them and everything. So they caught on, and these people are making tons of money. So what they do is they get a baby monkey. They're like a dime a dozen there, and in some of those countries they're actually considered pests. So it's very easy to get one, and they'll take care of the monkey. They'll film it, in diapers, and they dress them up in these stupid friggin' clothes and all this crazy shit. And then when the monkey reaches, sexually maturity, which is around the age of, I believe, like 2 or 3, sometimes even before then, they just dump these monkeys back into, wherever they came from. Like usually they're in the, hanging around these tourist areas, pagodas, whatever, temples. And so they'll just dump them there. But it doesn't, with a monkey, because they have such a complex like social structure in their troops, most of the time they don't survive. Like they get either attacked by the other monkeys, especially if it's a male. The chances, yeah, I could see you, Val. Sorry, I wasn't watching the chat. The monkeys, they can't survive. It's sad. It's really sad. They just dump them and then they get a new one. And it's friggin' becoming like a very, very huge problem. My daughter hit a deer last night. Oh my God, Val. Holy shit. I'm always scared of hitting deers. Deer shot. Ditterbug, you know where I saw a deer? I was turning off of 347 one night, coming onto Nichols Road, and there was a deer like right on the corner, running towards the opposite direction of the hospital. And I'm like, I've never seen a deer around here, ever. It was weird. I was like, what the fuck? A deer? That's weird. It was a huge one too. It had the big antlers and the whole, 9 yards. But yeah, anyway, there's this, it's really a huge issue because these poor monkeys are just getting abandoned. And, their monkeys have a very, very like complex social structure. So, for females, sometimes they could get, in the troop, but some of the males will get attacked and maybe even killed by the other monkeys. So it's super sad. Super, super sad. This one guy I watch has fucking 5 monkeys. He just got his 5th one. They're all babies now. Yeah, they're all cute and cuddly now. But once these motherfuckers reach like 2 or 3 years old, good luck, dude. Good luck taming them. They're fucking crazy monkeys. It looks like they drug them. Some of them drug the monkeys, so they look like all doped up. It's fucking insane. Anyway, all right. I think I have to end this. It's 1 o'clock. I didn't even realize what time it was, but thank you guys so much for hanging today. I really do appreciate each and every one of you guys. Val, I hope your daughter's okay. One day I'm going to get Val to email me. It's going to happen. I'm going to get her to email me. I gotta coax her into it. Because I miss her comments sometimes. But anyway, yeah. Thank you guys for hanging out so much. I really do appreciate it, for listening. And, I'm just going to go about my day, try to get through it. I'll be fine. I'll be all right. Unfortunately, it is what it is. It's just another day that I just have to get through. But I'm thankful for whatever. just being alive, I guess. So anyway, thank you guys so much for all your kind words and your support. As always, you guys are the best. I mean, I don't care what people say. Yeah, do we have some drama around here? We sure as fuck do. But you guys in my chat, like the ride or die, you guys that are here all the time, I'm so thankful. I think we have a really amazing group of people that are incredibly supportive and really, really nice to one another. So, and of course, I got my awesome mods too. I got to thank you guys, especially today, for just being awesome. So, remember, time, life, it's limited, and just every second counts. So, with that said, I'll see you guys sometime, probably next week, maybe over the weekend. You never know. But I hope you guys all have a great day. Have a great weekend. Start getting your Christmas shit out. Are you guys ready? Because I am. I'm going to start doing some Christmas DIYs for you guys. So anyway, all right. I will keep you guys updated if I find this poor ferret. And I think that's it. All right. I'm out. Have a good one, guys.